Everybody, welcome back into the historic Rose Hill Gym. The Fordham Rams, after their biggest victory of the season last weekend, then immediately took their largest loss. The Rams fell 78-56 to St. Louis. The Billikens are the A-10's best and one of the most talented teams at the mid-major level. They shot just over 50% from the field Wednesday night. Fordham will try to recalibrate in the conference this afternoon. Their opponent, Drew Joyce-led Duquesne. The Dukes have struggled in the Atlantic 10 play with a sole win over Steph Curry's alma mater, Davidson. That one was in double OT. Day-Day Reeves led the Rams Wednesday night with 18 points, and Jack Whitbourne grabbed a season-high 14 rebounds. Both those guys flourishing is vital to Fordham's future success. We'll see if those two can continue to excel this afternoon. Two teams who value putting this A-10 matchup in the win column massively. It's the Duquesne Dukes traveling to the Bronx to take on Coach Mike Magpayo and the Fordham Rams. And it's next on WFUV Sports. Welcome into the historic Rose Hill Gym on this beautiful snowy Saturday afternoon. We have you set for an A-10 matchup between the Duquesne Dukes, the traveling Drew Joyce Duquesne Dukes, and the hosting Fordham Rams. I'm Chris Carino, joined by my partner, Joe Henry. Joe, looks like a snow globe outside, quite the elements outside, and Fordham Rams ready to get back on track today.
Yeah, we seek haven in the Rose Hill Gym, and this has potential to be the game of the year. A Duquesne team that's gone to overtime in two of its three A-10 games so far. A Fordham team equally matched at home, looking to bounce back after a bad game against St. Louis. All the makings for a good one today.
And for Duquesne, thinking about teams struggling in the A-10, Duquesne is one of those teams, as I mentioned in the intro, only one sole win in the conference. That was in 3 OTs to Davidson. Duquesne, like Fordham, valuing those conference wins massively right now.
Absolutely. 1-3 start, not ideal for either of these teams. Fordham now down to 1-4, but if you look at both of these teams' track records, they're not that bad. Both of these teams lost only 6 points to Dayton. So Duquesne loses by 6 to Dayton. Last time out, they can't overcome this 9-point deficit that they fall under in the first half. But both of their A-10 road games have gone to OT, so this is a team experienced on the road, certainly capable of winning games, expected to be a team on the brink of getting a first-round bye in the A-10.
We'll have A-10 action for you in a second, but first, Joe got to catch up with head basketball coach of Fordham, Coach Mike Magpayo. Take a listen now.
Coach, tough one last time out against St. Louis, 2 days to prepare. What has the messaging been like to your group over these couple days?
Yeah, I think it's just continuing to grow. We dove deep into. I thought we lost a little of our discipline and our fundamentals against St. Louis and against a great team like that. You got to stay the course and stick with it. So, the last 2 days have been about just us continuing to be who we are, making sure that we're concentrating on our fundamentals, being disciplined in our scheme, and against Duquesne today, we've got to do the job. Just no middle, take away the threes, and make them make tough twos over a hand without fouling.
When you assess your team's performance against St. Louis going into today against a team like Duquesne, what are a couple of keys for you guys in terms of turning it around?
Yeah, St. Louis was the second. There have been 2 really bad transition defense games in conference. St. Louis was one of them, and Duquesne is one of the fastest teams in conference. I think they're the second highest scoring team. I mean, they're up there, and they play at the 41st fastest tempo in the country. So we've got to do the job there. Start there. Get back in transition. And then can we stop the head of the snake? Number one, Ginyard is he's a big-time player. He's a scorer, playmaker, second in assists in the conference behind Christian Henry, our guy. And he can do it all. And then he's great at drawing fouls, and so he's really the engine. But then they have a lot of talented scoring and physicality around him. So, and then the last piece is physicality. Like we've talked about protecting Rose Hill and having a physical approach to that, and so we need to have that attitude going into today's game.
You mentioned this Duquesne group that on the road has had some crazy games to start A-10 play, double overtime against Davidson, overtime against St. Joe's. You guys haven't been to overtime yet, but looking at this Duke's team, I feel like one statistic that stuck out to me as far as an area where you guys have really calmed down the turnovers, but you haven't been forcing as many recently. This is a Duquesne team that doesn't do either of those stats very well, either side of the ball. What are the keys to making sure that you win the turnover margin today?
I would love to start turning teams over a little more, and I think it's just our activity. I think obviously, when we've had Rikus at the 5, most of the season we've turned teams over because he's more aggressive in his coverages and whatnot. Now we have Jack at the 5 and Rikus at the 4, and most teams, use their 5-man in action a lot. So, but rebounding will always be like the way that we gain more possession. So we must take care of the ball and have a very good offensive game against these guys and make the right decisions and make shots. But like we've got to continue to crush them on the glass, and so that'll be a big focus for us, making sure that we're doing the job on both sides, because they do crash themselves. They're a lot more physical than you think. I'm sure when I walk out there, they're going to be even bigger and stronger. But just from watching the film, they're able to stand their ground against the biggest, strongest teams, and they played some, a strong non-conference as well. So rebounding will be something to keep your eye on.
Finally, it's Asian American Heritage Day today at Rose Hill. You're the president of the Asian Coaches Association. You're the first Division I head coach of full Asian descent, first D1 coach of full Asian descent to win a game. You're on the brink of being the first Asian coach to win 100 games at this level. What does it mean to you to bring a day like today to Rose Hill?
Well, if you know any Asians, you know that we're all we were raised very humble, so all that stuff, that's great. But, it really is about just the next generation and, I'm very proud to be Asian American and be Filipino but I'm very proud to be American, be raised here. But I've always just wanted to just open the door for the next generation of Asian Americans. And we have a player on our team, Akira Jacobs, who I'm really proud of. We have a strength coach, Leo Stern. We have a couple managers, Filipino managers on staff, Jeremy and Mark. And so, I always look to those guys and take a lot of pride in seeing the Asian American community grow. And hopefully they show up for a great contest today.
Yeah, Coach, thanks so much.
Thanks, Joe.
Starting lineups here in the Bronx for the traveling Duquesne Dukes. It's Jimmy Williams, the South Florida transfer, Jakub Nečas, the junior from Czech Republic, Terrence Ginyard, David Dixon, his 4th year in the program, one of the longest standing Dukes, and of course that 5th starter, Cam Crawford, the Marshall transfer. And on the other side for the Fordham Rams, it's been kind of what Fordham fans have gotten acclimated to over the last 5 games or so. Day Reeves, Christian Henry, Akira Jacobs, Rikus Schulte, and of course the big man in the middle, the Australian Jack Whitbourne. Joe, you brought it up before the game today. Fordham Rams have been struggling a little banged up in the past couple of games. They're starting to get healthy again. Abbas Bodija is active today. He might get some minutes, even though they may be limited. We're still waiting for the return of Rory Core. But this Fordham team getting more healthy as they go down the stretch of this 8-10 slate, really important.
Yeah, it's crucial. And Rory Core, we think, is on the doorstep of being back too. Some crucial wing depth there. And you think during this stretch, what's an advantage that Fordham had? Well, with Chris Henry out, you didn't have a lot of ball handlers, but you always had size. The question was, how long can that last? Big men get fatigued easily, and I think we've seen it the past several games with Rikus Schulte and Jack Whitbourne. Look, both of them have still been putting up numbers, but a lot of missed bunnies at the cup, just not as consistent as we've come accustomed to. So getting Abbas Bodija back, even if he's not 100%, even if he only gives you 12 minutes off the bench, that's a big reprieve for these big men.
And Rikus Schulte struggled in their game Wednesday night. He found himself frustrated on the bench, kicking chairs, not tending to be an animated guy, but found himself being animated Wednesday night. Between him and Jack Whitbourne, neither of those guys can really have an off night if this Fordham team wants to excel.
No doubt. It's an interesting front court matchup because it's 2 front courts that maybe aren't oversized, but are guys that have a lot of experience, are savvy, are a little bit quicker than the average big man. It should be an interesting matchup for Schulte. I mean, he has just 3 defensive rebounds his last 2 games. This is a guy who's 2nd in the entire conference in rebounding, so it's been a little surprising to see. He's also started to take a lot of 3-pointers. He's shooting a lot less shots at the rim. He's converting at a lower percentage at the rim as well. I think the front court could decide this game, Chris.
It's going to be Jack Whitbourne tipping this one off with David Dixon. As we talked about in the modern college basketball game, continuity is rare. David Dixon spending his 4th year with the program, and he'll win the opening tip. Duquesne to lead it off. It'll be Ginyard, top of the key. He's their leading scorer. Now a dribble handoff. Nečas back to the top of the key to Dixon. Dixon dribble handoff, left wing. A 3 from the left wing. No good off the left side of the rim. Day Reeves is on the rebound. He's running quickly. Fordham setting up offensively quickly. Day Reeves faking left around a screen, going right. Jack Whitbourne now has it deep on the right wing. In his white Kobe 9s. Day Reeves left around a Whitbourne screen. Finds the rolling Whitbourne. Whitbourne now backing down his defender. 11 on the shot clock. Spins right, turns left. Shot in the middle of the paint, no good. Duquesne recovers.
Not a bad first look for Whitbourne, but he struggled finishing at the cup recently.
Ginyard to Dixon, top of the arc. He'll take a three. No good off the rim. Enrique Schulte on the offensive glass. Fordham now going right to left.
Yeah, Dixon's only taken 5 3-pointers all year, so I think Fordham happy to let him take that one.
Schulte trying to find Christian Henry. Decides to hold it. Finds Akira Jacobs, rolling top of the arc. Akira Jacobs, right wing three. No good. Off back iron. Fight for it on the glass. Ends up with Duquesne. Duquesne running the other way. They'll slow it down into the half-court offense. Williams going right around the screen. At the right elbow, passes it inside to Dixon. Dixon, right-handed skyhook goes on Whitbourne. David Dixon with the first points of the afternoon. 2-0 Duquesne, 18.5 to go in this first half.
Yeah, that's the MO for David Dixon, one of just 4 players in the A-10 to have been with his institution all 4 years, and he's a post finisher.
And Christian Henry sending a backdoor lob pass into Enrique Schulte. Enrique Schulte couldn't get there, but it'll be out of bounds on the baseline, staying with the Rams.
Thought last possession, Akira Jacobs a little premature to take a step back three. We don't see that from him often. Usually he's a catch and shoot guy.
Wasn't really open
But
either.
for a Fordham team that has succeeded offensively a lot of times off baseline inbounds, interesting to see what they draw up here.
Whitbourne, ball above his head, top of the key, dribble hand off to Henry. Henry left around a screen, knifing to the right of the lane, puts up a shot, no good on the heavily contested layup, but he'll go to the line for 2. Good work there offensively from Christian Henry.
I loved everything about that possession. Henry take an off-ball screen after being the inbound man, come up, take the ball, take a screen from Whitbourne, get some leverage on your defender. One move, a little left-right crossover dribble, get some space, draw in the interior defender and Netches, and draw an early foul on him. Foul trouble could be a big one for a Duquesne team that allows teams to get to the line at a really, really high rate. Fordham doesn't get to the line a lot as Henry makes on his first. It's going to be crucial that Fordham wins the free throw battle today.
Yeah, and Henry has struggled from the free throw line. 56%, 37 for 66 free throws he's taken so far this season. For a guy who gets there as much as he does, he needs to be more consistent.
Frustrating. He took 4.5 free throws a game last year. He takes 4.1 this year. He misses on his second. He just needs to convert more.
Yeah, 1 for 2 for Henry. Now Duquesne coming the other way. Williams at the right block, dribbling all the way around, then finds himself at the left wing. Pass to Crawford. Crawford right around the screen, at the free throw line, drives to the right block and puts a right-handed floater up. An exquisite move there. Duquesne back in the lead, 4-1, 17:45 to go in this first half. Henry working out of the left wing, finding Reeves on an off-ball screen. Reeves, pump fake, step through, no good at the rim, but putback goes for Enrique Schulte. Nice move from Dede Reeves and his teammate cleaning it up.
That was everything but the finish. Pump fake, step through, just missed on the layup, but good to see Enrique Schulte make a tip-in.
Bullet pass by Natchez. Now moving it around the world, now in the right corner. Williams out to Ginyard. Ginyard right around the screen. Pass in the right corner, Williams. Williams closed out nicely by Reeves. Pass inside. No good on the layup from Natchez. And that'll be a foul under the basket. They'll send Natchez to the line. Jakub Natchez, the Czech Republic native.
So again, free throw battle could be the difference maker today. In the last game against Dayton for Duquesne, they allowed more made free throws from Dayton, 23, than they attempted as a team, 22.
Good on the first for Jakub Natchez. Natchez 70% on the year, 37 for 53 attempts he's taken, shooting 48% from 3. That's on 25 attempts, so not a small sample size.
No.
And Natchez makes the second as well. Duquesne 6-3 lead, 17:03 to go in this first half. Fordham in their home white in maroon names and numbers going right to left. Christian Henry getting direction from his head coach, Coach Mike McPio, deep on the right wing.
Looks like a 3-2 zone from Duquesne, too.
Jacobs passing inside to Whitbourne. Whitbourne back out to Henry. Henry right wing, guarded by the much bigger Natchez. Goes around a screen. Pass to Dede Reeves. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Drives baseline. Step back on the baseline. No good. Rebound by Duquesne. They're running quickly the other way. It's Ginyard. Left corner pass. That 3. It's good. Nothing but pure for Cam Crawford. The Marshall native gets Duquesne out to a 6-point lead. 9-3, 16:20 to go in this first half.
Well, he led the A-10 in three-point percentage last year, and he's shooting just 30% from distance this year. That's huge for his confidence.
Whitbourne working out of the right block. trying to back down his defender once again, picking up a double team. Nice array of passing for the Rams. Now Christian Henry has it, spinning in the lane. Lob pass inside, unsuccessful to Whitmore. Duquesne running in transition. Pass in the right corner, that three again, no good. Crawford couldn't get that one to go, and Christian Henry has it, bringing it up for the Rams. It's now Day-Day Reeves, gets it to Rika Schultz at top of the arc. Henry, working out of the left wing, pass left corner Jacobs, back to Henry. Henry drives. Jumper at the free throw line, it's good. Christian Henry steadily scoring for the Rams when they needed it most.
Yeah, we've seen this a lot this year. Really slow starts offensively for Fordham, steadied by their guards' playmaking ability and ability to create their own shots in the mid-range.
It's Natchez pump faking left, driving right, pass in the right corner, that three, it's good. Drive-in kicks continue to work dividends for Duquesne. That one was Jimmy Williams, the South Florida native, has Duquesne out to a 7-point lead. 12-5, 15 minutes left to go in this first quarter.
He's someone to watch. He's hot in a big way. 15-plus in each of his last 6 games.
Whitmore wants it, he gets it. Has it on the right baseline. Trying to make his way toward the block. He does. Faces up his defender. Tries to make a pass under the basket. It's intercepted. Duquesne turning defense into offense. Williams back out, top of the key. Crawford, pump fake, drives inside, and he's tripped by Jack Whitmore in the lane. That'll be a reach-in foul on the Rams. Not a lot, Joe, going well for the Rams on both sides of the court as a timeout is taken.
I think this Duquesne defense has really frustrated Fordham because their coverages have just been so sticky off the ball that Fordham has had a lot of trouble getting the ball inside the paint, finding their post players, trying to post up. And already a couple turnovers early. These turn into fast breaks for a Duquesne team that runs nearly as fast as anyone in the country, 93rd percentile in the nation in fast break points per game. So turnovers are even more costly against this Duquesne team than they already are against anyone.
And to add another layer to that as well, they're the 34th highest field goal percentage as a team in the country as well. So they take advantage of those opportunities they're given as well. They make the most of them. That's when you know a team is really steady and conservative down the stretch.
Yeah, they push the ball up the floor. They get good looks early, whether it's Ginyard driving inside for a layup or kicking out to a corner three, which you've seen 3 times this game so far, and Duquesne's 2 for 3 on those shots.
Duquesne Dukes are led by Drew Joyce, head coach of the Dukes, known mostly for being the starting point guard on St. Vincent St. Mary. That's LeBron James' high school team, childhood friends with LeBron James. They had a Sweet 16 run 2 years ago. LeBron James was tweeting about that one adamantly. And now his buddy up 7 in the Rose Hill Gym with 14:43 to go in the first half. We're going to send it to our sideline reporter, Isabella Taranchi. Take it away, Isabella.
Thanks, guys. Today we're celebrating all of the Asian Americans at Fordham and their hard work on and off the hardwood. Some of the notable crew includes head coach Mike Magpeo, who would become the very first head coach of full Asian descent to win 100 games if he wins here. That's right, he's sitting at 99 today. Some other notable Asian American Rams include the sports performance director, Leo Stern, Akira Jacobs, and 2 student managers, Jeremy Velasco and Mark Fiston. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Isabella. We'll be hearing from her periodically throughout this afternoon. And yeah, as she said, Asian American game today, celebrating the large amount of Asian Americans we have in our men's basketball program here. Of course, as she mentioned, our head coach Mike Magpio along with Akira Jacobs. Akira Jacobs played for Team Japan in the Olympics a few years ago. And of course, Leo Stern brought up as well. And this Fordham team, even with sort of the defensive success they had in the early stages of this one, you said it earlier, Joe, this Fordham team can't score in the early stages of games, and they hamstring themselves almost immediately.
Absolutely, and what's been good for Fordham in those slow starts, we've really seen it all of A-10 play and a lot of games in non-conference too, is that during most of these slow starts, their defense has been lights out. But that hasn't really been the case lately. The defense has been maybe, I'd say, average in first halves, as opposed to this 90th percentile or better performance where you're holding teams to 35% or below shooting in first half. So there's the contrast between getting a slow start offensively. Okay, that happens as a Fordham team that plays a slow, methodical brand of offensive basketball, so it makes sense. But that needs to be exchanged with great defense, and just hasn't had that so far, especially getting back in the fast break.
Fordham 14th in the country in opposing points per game. They only give up 64 a game this season. Up top now, Ginyard, leading scorer for this Duquesne team, 16.5 a game this season. It's Jake DeMichelle, right wing,
Makes its way all the way to the left wing. It's Edwards, back top of the key. That shot too late. An end of the shot clock heave at the top of the arc from Ginyard was too late. And the Rams will get a good defensive possession out of the break for the Rams. Now they can operate offensively.
Yeah, shot clock only at 20 because there was a foul called before the break. So I think maybe Duquesne, not aware of the situation, hoisting up a bad contested left wing triple.
Just not locked in as you are, really, is what I gather.
Right, that's exactly right, Chris.
Drew Joyce needs to lock in over there. Marcus Green subbing into this one for the Rams, along with Abbas Bodija. First appearance off injury for Abbas. And Marcus Green knifing through the left side of the lane, missing with a left-handed up and under layup at the rim. Duquesne moving the other way. Edwards, right corner three. It's good. Swirling around the rim and going in. And Duquesne's efficiency from the three-point line continues.
Made that 3 of 4 on corner threes off fast break opportunities. This Fordham team needs to run back on misses. Even if you don't turn it over, Duquesne's going to push it, and they're going to find those open shooters.
Marcus Green, top of the arc. Fordham needs some open shooters now. They're desperate. Rika Schulte, top of the arc. 13 and a half and counting on this first half clock. Reeves from right to left down the lane gets stripped right before his shot attempt. It'll be out of bounds on the baseline, staying with the Rams. Rams avoiding a turnover there. Day Reeves on the left side of the baseline, inbounding this one under the basket. The Abbas Bodija gets it on the inbound. Left wing three, no good. Edwards soaring to grab that rebound. Duquesne moving the other way. Williams on the right wing, quick catch and fire, no good. Akira Jacobs there on the rebound. Fordham getting stops. They just need scores. 15-5 Duquesne, 13-10 to go in this first half. Day Reeves has it. Left block. Out to Marcus Green. Green right around to Schulte screen. Back to Schulte, top of the arc. Gives it to Day Reeves. Day Reeves looking inside. Stops at the left block. Bumps his defender. Puts up a layup and gets it to go. No foul call, but he gets the bucket and gets Fordham a very necessary bucket.
Absolutely. And again, Reeves and Henry, the guys steadying the ship offensively when nothing else is working. On the other end, Abbas Bodija, I didn't like that three-point attempt. Love the confidence, but that's not his shot. I did like that he got right back on defense and prevented a fast break opportunity. That's strides in the right direction for Fordham.
Edwards, nice pass inside. Hugley had a decent shot attempt, ended up hitting the ground hard. Fordham taking it the other way after that play. Rika Schulte almost doing a full somersault under the basket. It'll be a foul off the ball, believing that one's going on Xavier transfer John Hugley, just subbing in not too long ago and already sort of making an impact.
That was ultra physical from Hugley, maybe frustrated after the offensive possession, but he was bodying up Schulte as he went down the floor, and then he really took him down. He went under his arm and just used that leverage to push upwards and thrust Schulte towards the ground. This is a guy in Hugley who was just suspended by his own coach for 6 games and only came back last game. The reasoning being that a violation of team rules and standards of the program. They said that he's shown growth in those areas, but this is a huge piece for them. He scored 25 points on 3 separate games for this team.
Day Reeves straight on 3, no good off back iron. Duquesne working offensively once again. Even the first possession of the game, Hugley took a major spill on the ground. Williams, top of the arc on the script Fordham logo. Pass to D. Michelle, gets it to Williams. Williams will calibrate the offense. Williams, top key to Hugley. Fakes the dribble handoff, then gets it to Edwards. Edwards has it, right corner, double team. Pass to Hugley. Hugley takes a right wing 3, and it hits! Beautiful form on the right hand from Hugley on the follow through, and he gets that one to go. Duquesne Dukes continue to pass up good shots for great shots offensively. They now have an 11-point lead, 18-7, 11:50 to go in this first half. Joe, what an offensive performance so far from the Dukes.
Just 7 of 23 on the year from distance for John Hugley, but he drained that one like he's Steph Curry. He leads this team in usage rate. When he's on the floor, he's the guy that they run their offense through more often than not. And look, he's a big guy, 6'10", 265, but he stretches the floor too. Fordham having trouble defending the fast break and now having some trouble in the half court too.
Going into the first media timeout here this Saturday afternoon at the Rose Hill Gym. Duquesne Dukes up 18-7, 11:50 to go in this first half. We're going to send it to the Rose Hill Gym for a one-on-one scoreboard update with Max Perlman. Take it away, Max.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Thank you, Chris and Joe. Looking back at action in the professional basketball ranks yesterday, the game of the night was between 2 Eastern Conference powers where the Cavs beat the Sixers 117-115 off of a career night and 39 points from Jalen Tyson, who was quickly asked about his NFL draft prospect brother. James Harden with 31 points for the Clippers in his efforts to save the NBA from an OKC dynasty as they prevail in OT over the Raptors 121-117. In a tank-off, the Pacers win over the Pelicans 127-119 with 29 J. Huff points. Big battle in the Western Conference as the Rockets defeat the T-Wolves 110-105 with 39 KD points and an Alperen Şengün triple-double. The Wizards and Kings played with Sacramento winning 128-115 by way of 26 Russell Westbrook points. The Nets with an effort to take the Bulls' play-in berth as they win 112-109 with a big game from Noah Clowney. Back on Thursday, the Suns and Pistons faced off with the Pistons prevailing despite no one scoring more than 20 points on their roster. And there's a little bit of trash talk between Jason Tatum and Bam Adebayo post game after the Celtics beat the Heat 119-114. And looking forward to tonight's game of the night, certainly going to be between the Suns and the Knicks at 7:30, and the Lakers and the Trailblazers will both try and get their seasons back on track at 10. Thanks. I've been Max Perlin with your NBA scoreboard. I'm Ben Max Perlin with your one-on-one update. Back to you, Chris and Joe.
Back here in the winter wonderland, that is the Fordham University campus in the Boogie Down Bronx. Chris Carino joined by my partner Joe Henry. It's been a slow start for Fordham so far. 18-7 deficit, 11:50 to go in this first half. The Duquesne Dukes have been efficient, and they've turned defense into offense. Two things the Fordham Rams have really struggled to do so far.
Yeah, Duquesne shooting 6 of 12, 50%, 4 of 8 from 3, 50%. Pretty much, 7 of their 8 looks from 3 have been wide open, so it makes perfect sense for Fordham. A 5 that really hasn't been on the floor since the very beginning of the year, set to try and buck this trend. Henry, Lesmond, Reeves, Bodija, and Jacobs. We'll see what they have in the tank offensively.
And Drew Joyce, a full court press coming out of the media timeout as well. Christian Henry getting picked up on a double team, top of the arc. He now picked up by only one, Edwards. Edwards will foul him. A reach in on Edwards as Henry tried to go through the left side of the lane. It'll be on the floor, inbounded under the basket by Fordham. Not surprising a Drew Joyce team is pressing, especially with this large of a lead. Drew Joyce, in his childhood, in his playing days, was always known to be one of the most tenacious players on the floor. Even if he wasn't the tallest, he played the biggest. Abbas Bodija, dribble handoff to Day Reeves, top of the arc. Day dribbling past a few defenders. Left corner pass, Christian Henry, 3, and air ball. Abbas Bodija tried to fight for the offensive rebound. He couldn't get it. A football pass sent into Edwards on the other side of the court. It was blocked by Christian Henry on the layup attempt. We'll see whose ball that is. What a catch on the other side of the court from Maximus Edwards. Looked like a tight end out there, Joe.
He just mossed Day Reeves.
He seriously mossed Day Reeves.
Get this guy in the divisional game.
You just Jackson Smith and Jigba'd him.
I don't know.
Is that not the
You ruined a great moment.
No. Jackson Smith and Jigba genuinely couldn't ruin anything, so I don't know what you're talking about. And now be inbounded under the basket by the Dukes. Be Williams on the right side of the basket. Gets it in. Took him a little bit. Gets it to Hugley. Right wing dribble handoff to Williams. Williams prancing on the Fordham strip logo. Not in a rush whatsoever. Pass on the right wing, Edwards. Edwards to a cutting Hugley. Hugley now on the baseline, faking right, going left, driving inside. Gets hit hard by two defenders. It was Kingston Price and Abbas Bodija meeting him down low, and he picks up the foul.
So they call it on Bodija. He's going to have his hands full dealing with a guy like Hughley. 6'10", 265. I said Bodija's big himself. He's 6'10", but he only weighs 180 pounds.
That's light, Joe.
I actually don't even believe that as I say that. Like, has to be wrong.
John Hugley at the line. Makes his first of the afternoon. Now 4 points, 1 assist so far.
What makes Hughley difficult is that he's a big who starts from the outside going in. So he can get a catch on the corner and he can put that shot up. Bodija's 225, my apologies, not 180.
The purest three-point form we've seen all afternoon long was Hugley's three earlier.
Yeah, and
absolutely
he can pump
pure.
fake and attack that closeout too, and then use his physicality inside. So when this guy's healthy, when he's abiding by team rules, he's a real impact player for this unit. He's been trouble for Fordham so far.
Has definitely been trouble for Fordham so far. Kingston Price in the game for the Rams was involved on that foul in the last possession. Christian Henry out of the left wing. Going to get it backdoor Lesmond. Lesmond running baseline. Right corner pass. Kingston Price no good. Hit the backboard. Kingston Price tracks down the rebound. Passed it back out to Lesmond. Takes a catch and fire three. No good on that one either. Fordham can't buy a bucket from three. And eventually Duquesne settles with it. It was Jake DiMichele who had it after the scrums.
The positive you can take from that is Fordham's now at 3 straight great looks from 3. The negative is that one of them was an air ball, one of them hit the top of the backboard, and the other was a miss.
Not great so far for the Rams. Williams inside pump faking and almost scoring. Ball rolled all the way around the rim. Whitbourne there on the glass. Fordham moving the other way offensively. Henry up top. Lesmond cutting inside, driving inside. Pass to Henry, right corner. Henry guarded closely. Driving baseline. Spinning right. Getting in the middle of the lane, and he's blocked. What a block under the rim from Alex Williams. Fordham continuing to struggle. That one's Duquesne ball as well, off Christian Henry.
They stripped it right down as he went up. He was open on the inside. Good decision to go up with it. Gets stripped. It hits off of his toe, trickles out of bounds. That's the story of the game so far for Fordham.
Nothing going right for the Rams. 20-7, Duquesne lead, 9:47 to go in this first half. Williams driving, kick out. Dixon, extra pass to Edwards, and an illegal screen. Edwards faked right around a screen and then decided against it, and it tripped his defender in Lesmond. Fordham ball.
It's a great break for Fordham because Dixon was just trying to come off that screen. He didn't push Lesmond or anything. Lesmond just tripped over him, which that's not an automatic foul because Dixon wasn't the ball handler. So it's really your determination on whether or not Dixon did enough with his legs to cause that trip.
A more tight defense from Duquesne. It's Jimmy Williams picking up the reach-in foul. Christian Henry bringing up that ball on the inbound and immediately being fouled after going across half court. DiMichele will come out of this one for Duquesne.
And Chris, remember that game against Colgate where Fordham scored 17 points in the entire first half? Just this ugly, ugly first half. They're pacing to score 13, 14 points.
Yeah, even less. Christian Henry gets it on the inbound once again. Drifts over to the right wing from the left wing. Gets it to Kingston Price. Price, pass in the left corner. Jacobs, his three. It's good. With a hand in his face, Akira Jacobs gets the Fordham offense going. They're now within 10, 20-10, 9:15 to go in this first half. And that baseline jumper from 15 is good. Jimmy Williams settling down this Fordham crowd and giving Duquesne a 12-point lead once again. Henry, pass to Schulte. Schulte bounce pass inside to Whitbourne, threading the needle. Ball still moving around, now to Henry. Henry left elbow, out to Kingston Price. Price driving inside, through the middle of the lane. Dump off pass, layup at the rim, blocked. The second chance goes for Schulte. This game moving fast. Duquesne not wasting any time the other way. Tried to pass it out to Dixon. It's stolen by Price. Price the other way. On heavy contact, finishes. Kingston Price on both ends, letting his great defense turn into great offense. The Fordham Rams needed it. They're now within single digits. 22-14, 8.5 to go in this first half. Joe, what a few minutes for the Fordham Rams.
The price is right, Chris. The price is right. We saw maybe the best attack and playmake of the year from Kingston Price in the last offensive possession. Pump fake, draw a closeout, drive inside, hop step, beat your defender, dump off pass, wide open Schulte. The exact kind of offensive possession you need, especially from a bench guard giving you those minutes as a ball handler. And then at the other end, reading the passing lane, stripping the ball, going all the way down, hitting a tough layup in the fast break. Exactly what Joe Fordham needed to get right back in this game.
Yeah, if Christian Henry and Day aren't feeling tenacious enough to drive right through the middle of the defense and try and score like Kingston just did, a guy like Kingston getting the opportunity he is more than willing to go do that.
Absolutely. We saw in the George Mason game, that game turned around when Kingston Price and Jamison O'Toole came in the game and gave this team some energy and hit some shots. That's what Kingston Price is doing. I just talked about how Fordham's pacing to score 14 points this entire half. I said that with 9:34 left to go. Well, now with 8:34 left to go, Fordham has 14 points, a 7-0 run in a minute span.
Yeah, that was a really good call, Joe. Things immediately turned around for the Rams. Williams has it, full court press for the Rams. Akira Jacobs in the front court defending with Kingston Price. Duquesne breaks the press. Duquesne now operating. Like before, in no rush. 8:19 on the first half clock. Edwards out of the left wing. Pass inside, worked all the way around to the left corner. No good from three from Jimmy Williams. Dixon there on the offensive rebound. Dixon lost the ball and went out of bounds. We'll see if Fordham's going to review this one. But for now, it's Duquesne ball. Coach Ryan Highland and a few others on the Fordham bench looking at that one.
They're saying don't review it.
It'll be Duquesne ball. Good call from the official on the baseline.
It's interesting. You said Duquesne no rush. On the fast break off of missed shots, they're sprinting, but then if they're stymied in the fast break, they take their time in the half court. Interesting dichotomy.
Yeah, definitely. Williams got it off the inbound, curling to the left corner, but there was an offensive foul. Another illegal screen on Dixon, and that's another turnover, a costly one for Duquesne.
And that's 2 now for Dixon on the exact same play at the exact same spot on the floor in the left wing, an off-ball screen. He gets called for it twice. He's now in a little bit of foul trouble, and Duquesne's committed 6 fouls, so Fordham in the bonus the rest of the way. 8 minutes. That's how this team can get back in this game against a Duquesne team that is really undisciplined.
Fordham going right to left in their home white uniforms. Whitborn, bullet pass with 2 hands to the right corner. Jacobs makes a man fall. Doesn't get the layup to go on the drive, but what a move by Jacobs to get in the lane, and he's going to the line for 2. A foul on the shot.
I'm not sure an Akira Jacobs drive has ever not created a productive possession.
Sure.
Because this kid can shoot, and in the games where Fordham has competed its best against Dayton and against St. Bonaventure, he's hit a career high tying 4 threes in each of those games. But how about when he pump fakes and attacks the closeout? For a 6'10 guy with a wide frame, he gets inside with ease. He's got a deep bag. He's not afraid of drawing contact when he has a full head of steam, and when he does so, he's getting fouls or making shots more often than not.
And the more consistently he has that mindset, Joe, the better for his game it is.
Absolutely. It totally opens up. I mean, this guy's a Japanese Olympian. He's only averaging, 7 points a game for this team. It's not to say that he's not incredibly talented, but I think he should be so confident to diversify his game. He's not just a catch-and-shoot shooter, which he's great at because he's 6'10". He can shoot over anyone, and he has a smooth stroke. But he can get inside, too. He can be the guy who does it all on a possession. He doesn't need to just be a role player.
And we've talked to Coach Magpayo. I don't think anybody, not only in the Fordham program, but at Fordham in general, wants Akira Jacobs to succeed more than Coach Mike Magpayo. Coach Mike Magpayo, such a big fan of not only Akira Jacobs, the player, but Akira Jacobs, the guy as well. Such a nice person just to be around on trips, to be around during games, before games. A nice group in general for this Fordham team. I think a big part of Coach Magpayo's identity in his first season with this program is to sort of build character, identity, similar to guys like Akira Jacobs, Rory Core, even Christian Henry to a certain extent. Friendly, nice guys that are going to put the work in and just in general have a nice dichotomy, like you said before.
I would say overwhelmingly every single player on the team is very really friendly, nice, outgoing, not above anyone, not aloof. And Akira Jacobs is at the forefront of that. He shows up every day, doesn't matter if it's at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., and he's got a big smile on his face. He loves basketball. He loves his guys. He loves being at Fordham.
And, Joe, the last guy in the gym, or the first guy in the gym, the last guy out of the gym every practice is Kingston Price. Kingston Price came into the season as almost a walk-on, pretty much a walk-on, along with Jamison O'Toole and other walk-ons on this team, and is now, throughout his play this season, kind of carved a role for himself in this rotation.
Yeah, talk about an opportunity seizer. He's a guy who doesn't get a lot of minutes every game. He'd only received 10 total minutes over his last 2 games combined, scoreless in those efforts. But when he gets that extended run, he has absolutely made the most of it. That career game against George Mason, those 9 points, I mean, Fordham ended up losing that game. But the reason why they were in position to win and frankly should have won that game was almost solely because of Kingston Price. He's the hardest worker on this team besides Rika Schulta, says Mike Magpayo, and it's not surprising to see it start to translate. This guy, with Ryan Pettis missing his 12th straight game with a concussion, is finally starting to carve out a role for himself, and he's doing that by his own effort.
Akira Jacobs going to the line for 2. Aside from the buzzsaw known as the St. Louis Billikens that the Fordham Rams ran into on Wednesday as Akira Jacobs makes the first, Fordham Rams have been competitive and they've had a chance to win every conference game they've played so far, aside from that St. Louis game.
No doubt. And even against like a George Mason team that's 16-1, I believe, maybe make it 17-1, and is ranked 2nd in the conference, against a Dayton team ranked 3rd in the conference that just advanced to 5-0 in A10 play, against some really good teams. They've been neck and neck and frankly just have not seemed overmatched one bit. This Duquesne team is a step worse than those teams, at least according to the rankings. And Fordham looked outmatched the first several minutes and has looked like, frankly, the better team through 2 minutes of play so far.
Natchez to Ginyard. Ginyard, top of the arc. Plays it to Jimmy Williams. South Florida transfer. Drives inside. Back out. Ginyard's 3. It's good. Duquesne needed a 3 badly to bandage the bleeding for the Fordham Rams were doing.
Yeah, he's a Curry scout. This guy has hit 2 or more threes in 4 straight games. Curry scout means you got to defend him any way you can when he's at the perimeter.
Yeah, not necessarily a driving threat, just kind of a shooting threat. Akira Jacobs, left corner, three goes! Akira Jacobs keeps the Fordham Rams offense with some juice. They're now within 6, 25-19, 7 minutes to go in the first half. What a resurgence from the Rams. It's Ginyard, pass inside. Natchez spinning right, no good on the right-handed hook. Whitbourne's there under the basket. Rose Hill Gym is filled up. Pretty packed crowd here on a Saturday afternoon in the Bronx. An off-ball foul there. Rika Schulte hitting the deck after some extracurriculars. It'll be a foul off the ball on the floor.
And that gets you in the bonus.
Yeah, big foul there for the Rams.
For Schulte, I mean, I hesitate to say this, it's a little offensive. Luckily for the listener, they don't have to see Rika Schulte's free throw for him, but it does convert at a 73% rate. So when he goes to line for a 1-on-1, you can feel pretty good about it.
Would you rather be ugly, Joe, or efficient? As he misses the first. But a lane violation.
Intentional miss, Chris. See the old.
You don't want to make one.
It was
when it
not
doesn't
an
matter.
announcer jinx.
When it doesn't
not
matter.
An announcer jinx at all.
And now Rika Schulte will get a second try at his first free throw in the 1-and-1. Missing the first. Schulte misses that one as well. Kira Jacobs tried to get to the rebound. He couldn't, and Duquesne will have it. Missed opportunity there for the Rams.
Okay, that was an announcer jinx.
That was, a little bit.
No.
Considering he missed it, got a second chance, and then missed it again.
Yep.
Yeah, not great. Natchez on the left wing. Crawford. Crawford to Ginyard. Ginyard inside to Natchez. Nice backdoor pass. Nobody home. Jimmy Williams, or Natchez thought Jimmy Williams was going to cut baseline. He didn't, and that pass went inerrant out of bounds.
Yeah, you put it perfectly. That would have been a pretty play to find a backdoor cutter who could have gone inside and gotten a reverse layup wide open with the big man drawing two defenders, but the cutter did not cut, so just a pass out of bounds.
Jacobs to Day Reeves, right wing. Back to Jacobs. Jacobs, fiery pass into Schulte. Schulte, right block. Backing down his defender with his right shoulder. Back out to Day Reeves. Rams want a bucket. Reeves dribbling through two defenders, getting to the rim, and a travel. A wall called. You saw it, Joe. And Duquesne going to get another unforced turnover by the Rams.
Yeah, I think he ran out of room there. He'd cut inside from the right side of the floor, and then he tried to hop step towards the middle, but there was a center right in his way. So as he went to do the hot step, he hesitated, took an extra step, and then he got called for the three.
Ginyard tried to split defenders. He got the ball taken. Christian Henry coming the other way. Kicks it out. Day Reeves three. No good. Rebound Whitbourne. Second chance for the Rams. Henry, left wing. Again pass to Day in the corner. Day driving to the rim. Nice lob pass inside. Whitbourne finishes. Fordham Rams offense continues to be efficient here down the stretch of the first half. They're now down 4, 25-21, 5.5 to go in this first half.
For a team that was unlucky, that was lucky. I'm not sure that was supposed to be a pass from Day Reeves.
And an offensive foul. Thought it might be defensive with Williams being guarded by two defenders, but that one going to be off the ball.
They call it on Lazar Milosevic, who already has two fouls in just a couple of minutes.
Give me that again.
Lazar Milosevic.
Love it. Good stuff there.
But with two fouls early, I'm not sure you're going to have to call his name a whole ton.
No. Bosnia native was confused after that play. Confused to say the least. Kira Jacobs, top of the arc. Thinks about a shot. Decides to pass instead. Day Reeves, right wing, to his backcourt partner, Christian Henry. Henry deep on the left wing. Going right around a Schulte screen. Now middle of the lane. Takes a jumper. No good. Rebound fought for. Eventually brought down by Duquesne. Duquesne's had trouble in the defensive glass. It's Ginyard. Up top. Natchez pump fakes. Now fakes the dribble handoff. Then gives it. It's Crawford. On the right wing to Williams. Williams left around the screen. Stopping at the right elbow. Almost loses the ball. Back down Natchez. Natchez top of the arc. Spinning right in front of the free throw line. Takes a jumper. No good. Fading away. And Fordham gets it back defensively. Or gets it back offensively. It's Christian Henry bringing it up.
And the rebounding is really sharpened for Fordham off these Duquesne misses.
Christian Henry, nifty move getting inside. Lost the ball. Schulte picked it up. Missed the first opportunity, but made the second. Christian Henry, fantastic job splitting defenders and getting that ball inside. And a block on the other end. Jimmy Williams thought he could sneak in a layup, and Jack Whitbourne said, no, no, no. Day Reeves blocked at the rim as well. It's a block party here in the Bronx show.
It's a party indeed. 2-point game, 4:07 to go for Fordham. How about this run the last 5+ minutes? 13-3. Talk about the defense struggling. The first 10, they've allowed just 3 points in the last 5.5 minutes.
As good of a stretch, as good of a 5 minutes Fordham's had all season long.
It feels that way. I mean, you could maybe argue the end of the Bonaventure game just because of the stakes at hand, but in terms of you just taking 5 minutes, this has been such a reversal of course for a Fordham team that looked lost through 10 minutes of play.
Bunch of subs being made by the Rams, with Schulte, Whitborn, and Henry coming out of this one. That's in favor of Green, Price, and Bodija. Fordham will inbound it under the basket. Pass to Jacobs, right corner, pump fake to Kingston Price, top of the arc. Swings it to Cap, Marcus Green. Back to Kingston Price. Price drives and kick. Jacobs 3, no good from the right wing. Rebound brought down by Ginyard.
Bit of a heat check, but I don't mind it from Jacobs.
Duquesne moving left to right. Ginyard back out. Hoogley faking a pass left, driving right, and he's blocked. Akira Jacobs picking up a foul on the block, and he was not happy about it. It's going to be a media timeout here on the floor. An interesting last couple minutes after the Rams played maybe their best 5 minutes of the season.
Yeah, the defense has continued to shore up, but it's going to be an intriguing stretch for Fordham, assuming they keep this unit on the floor, which I think they will. Kingston Price earning a second stint here in the first half. Don't see that too often, but he absolutely earned it with his performance in the first couple minutes that really turned this game around. Boss Bodija back in the game again, dealt with that ankle injury, missed the entire first 5 games of conference play, and then you have a guy like Daddy Reeves to steady the ship. But these are minutes without a guy like Rika Schulte and Chris Henry. What are we going to see from this Fordham offense the rest of the first half? 3:42 to really shift the landscape of this game.
And a very important 3:42 for the Fordham Rams before they head into the locker room. They trail by just 2, 25-23 Duquesne lead. We're going to send it back to the Rose Hill Studios for another one-on-one scoreboard update with Max Perlman. Take it away, Max.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Thank you, Chris and Joe. Looking around the rest of the A-10, Dayton beats Loyola 78-54 yesterday to stay undefeated in the conference. And back on Wednesday, VCU took down Rhode Island 84-75. Richmond blew out LaSalle 74-53. St. Joseph denying St. Bonnie their first conference win with a tight one, 68-64. And Davidson on top of George Washington, 84-79. George Mason, Dayton, and St. Louis already separating themselves from the rest of the pack as they all remain undefeated in conference play, while trailing teams all have at least 2 losses. St. Bonnie and LaSalle later today will try to gain some momentum as they play at 2:30. Then Richmond, as one of the 2 lost teams, looking to gain some ground, will try and topple St. Louis at 4. For Fordham women's basketball, they were blown out by Davidson back on Wednesday 74-50 as they are still looking for their first conference win. In the rest of the A-10, St. Louis won over LaSalle 66-57. George Washington wins 59-45 as they did not yield their first conference win to Duquesne, as Duquesne's first conference win. Rhode Island and George Mason remain undefeated on top of the conference as they will look to continue their dominance. With your one-on-one A-10 update, I'm Max Perlman.
Back here at the Rose Hill Gym, down the stretch of this first half, the Fordham Rams have fought, they have clawed, and they're within 2. 25-23, Duquesne lead, 3:42 to go in the half. We're going to send it to our sideline reporter, Isabella Terracini. Take it away, Isabella.
Thanks, Chris. Here at the Rose Hill Gym, it's the Asian American game, like I recently mentioned, and you're saying that we're climbing through a comeback right now. Well, the thing that's fueling that comeback are the egg rolls and gyozas served from the student section. They're actually pretty good. They're from a little place on Southern Boulevard called Kiku Sushi. And I had the egg roll and it wasn't that bad. But do I think that the star of the game is the actual game? Yes. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Isabella. That was absolutely fantastic. Even got the street of the restaurant in which the egg rolls came from. That's a lot of information.
It's called sideline reporting.
It's called
Chris.
sideline reporting right there. See if the egg rolls can power the Rams to a good second half as well. They got to finish the first half first. Huglia no good on his first free throw. 2 for 3 so far tonight.
This game kind of like an egg roll, Chris.
Go on.
Trying to figure out where I want to go with this.
You didn't think you would just be able to say that on the air with me and I wasn't going to try to get you to expand.
Perhaps mundane on the outside, but once you look on the inside, there's a lot of storylines at play. A team down 11, now down just 2, a chance to tie in the last 3:30 of the first half.
I don't know why I doubt you, Joe Henry. Christian Henry in the right corner. Back to Henry, top of the arc. Henry fakes a pass left, passes it inside. Jacobs, heavily contested, no good on the layup. Bowditch is there to track down the offensive rebound. His floater, no good. Duquesne finally gets the board.
Thought those were a couple of hurried shots from Jacobs and Bodija, but I do like the aggression on the inside from both of them.
Hughley has it on the left wing. Pass inside to a cutting DiMichele who scores. Fantastic pass, fantastic cut. Really good stuff from Duquesne all around.
DiMichele's an interesting one. He started 21 games on that 2023-24 Duquesne team that went to the NCAA tourney. They were 15-6 in his starts, but he's been off and on the court with injuries ever since.
Not only went to the tournament, went to the Sweet 16 of the tournament. Fadeaway jumper on the baseline is good for Day Reeves. Day continuing the consistent scoring for the Rams. They stay within 2. 27-25, 2.5 to go in the half. Marcus Green there on the steal defensively for the Rams. Rams moving the other way. Green left corner 3. No good. Day Reeves is there on the offensive glass. Pass out to Green. Extra pass to Jacobs. Left corner 3. No good. Abbas Bowditch there fighting for the offensive rebound. He couldn't get it. Good sign seeing him fighting off the injury.
A couple more great looks. And how about Day Reeves' contested offensive rebound? Bodija going to the floor trying to get another one. The offense is really coming into form here for Fordham, even if they're not making buckets.
Hughley, dribble handoff to a cutting and scoring Ginyard. Ginyard going through the right side of the lane, picking up contact on the chest and still finishing. Henry, pass to Day Reeves left wing. Minute 40 to go in the half. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Henry going right around the screen, now in the right corner. Crossover left to right, driving baseline. Tried to throw it to the opposite side of the court. It was intercepted. Ginyard on the steal. Pass up ahead, no good from 3 for DiMichele. Fordham controls it once again. 1:20 left on the game clock.
Huge final 80 seconds. You need to win these. If you can go into the half tied, that's a huge win for a Fordham team that was down 11 just 8 minutes ago.
Duquesne with a lead, 29-25 over the Rams. Minute 09 left. Green, top of the arc, guarded by DiMichele. Drives to the left side of the lane, kicks it out to Reeves. Reeves spinning right, trying to get open, out to Henry. Henry has 5 seconds, looked up at the shot clock, he knows, sends a heave, and it's an air ball. A 30-footer from the top of the arc from Christian Henry doesn't go, and now Duquesne has 53 seconds to work with before the end of the half.
Yeah, that was an ugly one. It just took too long for them to initiate the offense, and then when Day Reeves was sealed off as he tried to drive, pass out to Henry, there's only 5 seconds to shoot. Henry didn't realize for a second, turns around, has to just huck up a logo 3.
Duquesne now, as I said, just under a minute in this first half. A 4-point lead for the Dukes. Ginyard, top of the arc to Edwards. Alternating wings. Edwards left around a screen through the middle of the lane. Up and under layup, no good. But Jack Whitbourne there on the foul. Edwards is going to go to the line for 2. I thought he might dunk that on him, the way he approached the lane, Joe.
This is a big stretch for Duquesne here to steady things for a team that had seen this game start slipping away. The fact that they can go up by 6 here with 38.6 to go in the first half, when it felt like this game was trending towards Fordham having a lead at the end of the half.
Edwards misses the first. 3 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist so far tonight. His first free throw. 38.6 on the game clock. That's how much Fordham has to work with after the free throws. Edwards donning 2012 Finals KD Force. It's an Oklahoma City Kevin Durant sneaker, Joe, as the second one goes. A simpler time, if you may say, Joe.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I did say pregame to Joe Henry, the sneaker game of the Duquesne Dukes may be unmatched in the conference.
And then what did you tell me?
And then I told you every shoe they had on the floor.
And then what did you tell me?
Oh, that I've been to 2 sneaker cons. That wasn't really meant for the air, but now it's kind of been on the air. So, nonetheless, 29 seconds left. 5-point deficit for the Rams. Jacobs passing the left wing to Reeves. Behind the back dribble gets in the middle of the paint. Floater, no good. Schulte there on the second chance. Puts it up, no good. Whitbourne there on the third chance. That one's no good. Whitbourne on the fourth chance. That one's no good, but he gets the foul. Is going to the line. 4 chances for the Rams. Not one of them leads to a field goal.
I think if the refs didn't blow the whistle there, the final 12.3 seconds would have been that exact sequence on loop.
The 7th one's no good. The 10th one's no good.
That's been the story for these Fordham bigs. Look, the offensive rebounding's been outstanding all year. 12-1 in the offensive rebounding category so far today. But for both of these guys, as Whitbourne hits his first, you have to finish off of those O boards. Fordham has just not converted at a good enough percentage off of offensive rebounds really all season, because off of the O board, you're either going to get an open layup or an open three somewhere. It should be the highest points per possession kind of possession besides a fast break that there is, and yet for Fordham, it just hasn't been.
It reminds me of points off turnovers, Joe, as the free throw is good for Whitbourne. Abbas Bodija subbing in for Jack Whitbourne. It's almost like points off turnovers, Joe. Even if you're getting a lot of steals, you're turning over the other team a lot. If you're not scoring off those turnovers, it doesn't have a lot of value.
Yeah, I asked Magpio pregame about the points off turnovers, and he said, well, rebounding is our points off turnovers.
5 seconds on the game clock. Ginyard, top of the arc, pes it to Williams, straight on three, no good. And the final second ticks off. T. Michelle under the basket on the floor. Abbas Bodija fell on him, and they had a massive collision right at the end of the half. I believe everyone's okay, but a scary sight there for a second. Even still, it's not a scary sight, Joe, for the Rams. The scoreboard, they're down 3 going into the half. After being almost fully out of this one in the early stages, the Rams are as competitive as you could be. 30-27, Duquesne lead going into the half.
Yeah, we've talked about this Fordham team as being logic-defying at points this season. Well, they just had their worst 10-minute stretch of a season the first 10 minutes of this game. They scored only 7 points. Duquesne had a 20-7 lead with 9:34 to go. And then Fordham went on this huge 13-3 run, cut it to a 2-point deficit. And then Fordham ends the half shooting just 1 of 10 from the field. And yet they're able to keep it to just a 3-point margin. So Fordham playing for maybe 16 or 15 of the 20 minutes bad basketball is within 3 points against a Duquesne team that is slated to be number 9 in the conference versus Fordham's number 14 in the preseason, a good Duquesne team.
An encouraging half, to say the least, for the Fordham Rams. They trailed 30-27 after one half here in the Bronx. The Duquesne Dukes lead. We're going to send it back to the Rose Hill Studios for a halftime show with Derek Bull, your host, and of course, who we've heard from, Max Perlman. Take it away, boys.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Welcome into the Rose Hill Studio for the halftime report as we look to recap the first half of Fordham men's basketball on a snowy day here in the Bronx. I am Derek Boyer, joined by Max Perlman here at Fordham University, where the Duquesne Dukes are currently leading the Fordham Rams 30-27. But if you watch the first 10, 12, maybe even 15 minutes of this game, not finish the half, you would expect Fordham to be down 10, 15, 20. They were down 11 about halfway through the half, but they have managed to claw their way back. So it's only a 3-point deficit at the moment. But here on a snowy day, at least I hope the snow is sticking at this point. When we got to the studio, it wasn't really sticking, but hopefully it's sticking a little better so we can get out of here and maybe have some snow later. But the Rams are trying to get it done in the gym. How they really managed to claw their way back. They're not shooting well from 3, which Duquesne is, and that's kind of the biggest reason why Duquesne was able to get out to such a big lead. But they've been able to do some other stuff. Max, what do you think's been the biggest thing that's allowed Fordham to get back in this?
I mean, the big men have done well. There's 11-1 offensive rebound ratio for him to Duquesne, which is obviously going to be a great way to get second chances. We just saw Riga Schultz get his own rebound 4 times in a row, which is crazy. But the fact they're able to do that has allowed them to put up points that Duquesne just does not have access to, as they're, of course, relying on the 3-pointers. And since that has slowed down, I mean, they're still shooting 50%, so it's comical to say that that's slowed down for them. But it has. 50% to 14%, you're just seeing 2 very different brands of basketball being played, and it's been pretty balanced out so far. Close game. I mean, this would be a huge win for Fordham, upsetting a school that has been strong historically in the A-10, and as they try and gain some momentum in conference. So we'll see how they can close it out. Any thoughts? Or how they can close out the game? Any thoughts on how they could do that?
Well, the Dukes certainly, they were shooting upwards 60-70% from 3 at the beginning of the half, and then they started missing some shots. But I mean, like you said, this would be a huge win for either team. Both teams only with one win in conference play. Fordham with a loss would push them down to 1-5. That's kind of digging yourself into a hole that's a little too deep to come out of in the A10, especially with a lot of good teams this year. The Dukes with a win would go to 2-3, and that would put them in a pretty good spot near the middle of the conference. That would allow them to kind of try and claw their way up to the top. But both these teams with a really, really much needed big win. It's been an emphasis for Coach Magpayo for Fordham, and I'm sure it is big emphasis for the Dukes as well. Both these teams with a much needed win. Fordham, especially at home, needs to secure the gym, secure the Rose Hill Gym like they've been doing all season. But if they're going to be able to do that, they need to keep doing what they've been able to do. They were trying to shoot a lot of threes at the beginning of the game. Fordham has more 3-point attempts than Duke. They're 2 for 13, while Duquesne's only shot 11. But they're 2 for 13. They're shooting 15%. So if I'm Coach Mike Magpayo in the locker room, I don't want to shift entirely away from the three. You can't take that piece away entirely, because if you can start knocking down threes, you can come back in this game. But when you're scoring a lot more off turnovers and you're scoring more in the paint than Duquesne, and you're able to get 12 offensive rebounds to Duquesne's 1, if you're so dominant in the paint and being physical, I don't see why there's a point to stray away from it and go away from that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we've seen they're clearly sticking to their guns, as you know, their starting 5 has all but 2 of their points. So I mean, I don't know if that will be sustainable the rest of the game, but hopefully, you know, you've seen the big men, you know, score the bulk of the points, and off the bench, both teams are getting pretty minimal production, but Duquesne definitely getting more. So I don't know how if that's going to change at all, if the usage will be affected at all in the second half by what's occurred in the first half, but we'll see. I don't know how. You know, that the starting 5, Magpie starting 5 just has to continue do what they're doing, and hopefully they can keep the momentum going.
Well, they might be running out of steam at some point. The Duquesne starting 5 also, I know there's been a couple fouls on the same guys, so this game might end up coming down to free throws. Both teams with 5 free throws and about the same amount of attempts. So this game being so close and being with how physical Fordham is likely to play, at least that's what I would think they would do since they've been dominant physically, they might be able to rack up those free throws, and a lot of Fordham's games have been decided by free throws, so this game might be similar to one of those. But we'll have to see in the second half what Mike Magpayo chooses to do. But as you said, for the starting 5, Fordham has been doing a lot for them, but Duquesne, I think, has spread out their offense a lot more. No one on Duquesne has more than 5 points. So they've spread out their offense very, very well. While they were shooting good from 3 at the beginning of the game, it wasn't entirely one guy. Each person on Duquesne with a 3 only has 1, and only 1 or 2 attempts for each guy. So Duquesne really kind of spreading the ball around a lot more than Fordham is. Well, Fordham not necessarily relying on one guy. Akiri Jacobs does have 8 points, which leads both teams. So I think going into that second half, Duquesne and Fordham might flip-flop. I'm not entirely sure, but like they could flip-flop as in Duquesne kind of tries to run their offense through one more guy, try and get a little more consistent shooting, since they're shooting at the end of that first half did fall a little bit, and Fordham might choose to spread out their offense a little more and try and get more offensive production from a couple of their guys. They might choose to flip-flop.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's honestly a miracle. Fordham has shot, their field goal percentage is 29%, and they're 15 from 3. Like, the fact this is a close game is a miracle. So, I mean, it's impressive that it's close with the way they've shot the ball. So, I mean, if they can, you know, positive aggression, they can shoot to, you know, their full abilities.
We were in the studio watching this or listening to Chris and Joe on the call, and it was Fordham was down like 13 at one point. We were all just kind of gearing in for another halftime where the Fordham's down quite a bit. But, I mean, the fact that they've been able to claw their way back is really impressive and shows just kind of how much Fordham wants this game, especially in the Rose Hill Gym, how important this win is to them, especially with them. Again, they're 1-4 in the conference so far, and this win is I'm not going to say it's a must-win game, but when you're 1-4 in the conference, it almost is a must-win game.
Yeah, a non-mathematical must-win. Love those. Yeah, I mean, Fordham, they just got to keep up the momentum and, you know, keep dominating the interior like they have been. You know, keep drawing fouls. They're shooting well from the line. Just continue the momentum inside of the paint, which is what has worked for them. Shoot the ball a bit better, and they should be golden. I don't know if there's much more to it.
I mean, there was that play at the end of the half where the same offensive rebound was grabbed 3-4 times. It seemed like it was just going to keep going, but the problem is you can get all those offensive rebounds and you can have all those second chances, but if you don't take advantage of those second chances is where Fordham can seem to falter, and it seems that's where they have been, because they are shooting 28%, but they've made the same number of field goals that Duquesne has. The problem is they have 12 more attempts than Duquesne. So they have plenty more attempts, but that is because they're grabbing an offensive rebound, getting the layup, and not making it, and grabbing the offensive rebound over and over. So if Fordham can capitalize on just a couple more of those offensive rebounds, they can definitely get a lead, obviously for them, hopefully early in that half.
Yeah, no, just come out. Obviously, that the whole issue with Fordham has been how slow offensively they've started, and we've seen that again despite the fact the game's close. But that has been a theme of the season. So if they can come out quick, that would be excellent, and they surely could preserve some of the momentum they garnered in the last 10 minutes. So, I mean, yeah, as Joe said, like those were the best 5 minutes of best offensive minutes of basketball Fordham had put on all season, arguably, at the end of that half. So if they can just capture that and whatever it was, they will be successful against Duquesne.
Yeah, the momentum, taking that momentum and leading it into the second half, not losing that, is just huge. And a big thing that Coach Mike Magpayo was harping on at the beginning of this game when he talked to Joe was the turnover battle. And they currently are winning the turnover battle. Well, it's not a huge margin. Duquesne with 8 turnovers and Fordham with 6. They are capitalizing a little more on the points from turnovers, as Duquesne actually doesn't have any points off of Fordham turnovers, while Fordham has 9 off of the 8 Duquesne turnovers. Well, it would be a little nicer to have that number be a little higher than 9 from the 8 turnovers. It's definitely impressive that Fordham's been able to, while they are making mistakes and turning the ball over, they're not allowing Duquesne to do anything with them, and I think that's really impressive. And I think we saw that a lot in the kind of the second half of that first half, where they were playing just in my opinion, a better brand of basketball, where they weren't allowing that perimeter defense to shut down and allowing Duquesne to shoot uncontested threes. And while Duquesne has been very good with their shot selection in this game, I think it all does come down to Fordham defense, and I think they've been doing a lot better as the game went on.
Yeah, no, I mean, preserving the physicality on both sides of the ball, just making sure that is maintained, as that's kind of the brand of basketball they're clearly going to have to embrace against a team shooting threes like this. That'll be critical. I mean, that's how they've been successful offensively and defensively here, and maintained this somehow being a close game. Definitely stay physical and keep drawing fouls, keep dominating the paint, and this game will stay close. I don't know, and have a chance at the end.
The Fordham needs to, if they continue to shoot like they have. Akira Jacobs, the only player with a 3-pointer. Everyone else with a couple attempts, but not able to sink any. And Akira Jacobs himself 2 for 5, which is a pretty good, obviously not a bad shot percentage at all. But when everyone else isn't shooting and you need to rely on one guy, it's not entirely great. But I mean, if they can stay physical, they can stay in the paint like we've been harping on, keep getting those rebounds. If they keep rebounding like they did in that first half, I think eventually the 28% that Fordham shooting isn't their normal shooting percentage.
Yeah,
they normally shoot better than that, and it'll come up as the game goes on. So again, if they keep getting those rebounds, they keep doing what they've been doing that worked, and that's take the first half of this game, the first half of the first half, and just get rid of that, clear that out of your mind. Take that second half and kind of harp on what worked, and I think if they continue to do that, they'll absolutely be able to. Hopefully, obviously, they're looking to get a lead early in this game and continue their momentum. But Max, do you have any final thoughts before we send it back to Chris and Joe?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think despite the score, you honestly, most players, you'd want to be where Fordham is. You'd rather be where Fordham is than where Duquesne is. You'd rather, be down 3 points with all the past previous momentum in your way, rather than just having blown a 13-point lead. So I'm excited to see the second half. Hopefully Fordham can gain some ground on Duquesne and in the Big Ten.
Absolutely, and that'll do it for us here in the Rose Hill studio. But we'll be back after your second half for your post-game report, joined by Max Perlman. I have been Derek Bullier, sending it back to the Rose Hill Gym for your second half of Fordham men's basketball. Take it away, guys.
I'm Kurt Sipple, telling you to tune into One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. Catch us live every Saturday on our WFUV Sports YouTube Live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and later on 90.7 WFUV from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. We break down the week's latest headlines with our collection of tri-state area beat reporters, along with interviews with your favorite athletes and media personalities. WFUV is your home to talk all things New York sports.
Back here in the Rose Hill Gym, welcome in everybody. A beautiful Saturday afternoon in the Bronx. I said it in the intro, Joe. Looks like a snow globe outside a winter wonderland here on the campus of Fordham University. And a rough start for the Fordham Rams in the first half of this one. The Duquesne Dukes jumped out to an efficient and a dominating start. And the Fordham Rams, as the first half went on, as the first half went down the stretch, the Fordham Rams clawed, fought, and got their way all the way back to a 3-point deficit. That's where we are at halftime right now. Only 27 points at half, but only a 3-point deficit.
Yeah, it's been
Chris
a weird
Carino
one.
joined by Joe Henry. Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a weird one. I like some of the points that Derek and Max made in the halftime show. Fordham shooting 28.6% from the field, and yet within just 3. And Duquesne as a team has only made 5 2-point field goals. It's a team that's ranked 23rd in the country in 2-point percentage, but Fordham's got a great 2-point defense. And then you look at this insane discrepancy on the O boards that has gotten Fordham back into this game. Remember, Fordham down by 13 with 9.5 to go in the first half, and now just a 3-point deficit at the half. 12-1 in the offensive rebounding category, and while Fordham hasn't been super efficient off of those second chances, they have gotten 10 second chance points, and out of 37, that's a significant chunk of Fordham scoring off of second chances. And the points off turnovers, too. Derek did a great job of bringing that up. This is a Fordham team that's averaged less than 8 turnovers forced in its last 5 games. It just hasn't forced turnovers at all in A-10 play. It's been a big-time problem, and you can kind of expect that because Fordham played the easiest strength of schedule in the entire country through non-con, and now is ramping up against some teams that have just better ball handlers and better overall offenses. But for Fordham to have forced 8 against a Duquesne team that scores a lot of points and has a pretty high-octane offense is a really encouraging sign, and to convert for 9 points, that's not a super efficient mark, but 9-0 and points off of turnovers. The last point I want to make, Chris, a Duquesne team that runs as fast as anyone in transition hasn't even scored off of turnovers yet. That says that Fordham is doing a great job of getting back on defense, and while they struggled to do that the first few minutes, gave up some open corner threes off of misses, they've really locked in that area, and Duquesne has looked lost offensively, lining up for a good second half.
It is rare you see two teams with the same amount of field goals, but one team taking 12 more field goals than the other.
Yeah.
35 field goals for the Rams, just 27 points. Obviously, in totality, not an efficient half, but second half of the first half, very efficient for the Rams. For Fordham Rams will start it off in the second half. It'll be Christian Henry leading the Ram offense. Pass inside, intercepted. Tried to get it through a tight window, and it was taken away by Natchez. Natchez to the left corner. Williams, pump fake, drives inside, kicks it out. Right corner 3. It's good. Nothing but net for the Marshall transfer, Cam Crawford. And Duquesne with a hot start to the second half, 33-27, 19:28 to go.
Yeah, that's an ugly start, Chris Henry. Bad turnover there looking for Schulte. He was covered. He was frustrated with himself off of it, and then Akira Jacobs bump, biting on the pump fake, turns into an open 3.
Henry back out, Day Reeves. Now to Rika Schulte. Schulte going to play it back to a guard in Christian Henry. Henry has it, top of the arc. Right around a Schulte screen. Stops at the right block. Fouled at the right block. That one will be Jakob Natchez. Natchez thought he was straight up. Gave the classic defender, I'm going to hold my hands up in the air in innocence. Nonetheless, it'll be Christian Henry going to the line.
It's always funny when guys have their hands like over a defender, and then after the whistle blows, they move them to be straight up.
Whoa, I was straight up.
For 5 seconds. I haven't moved my arms a muscle, I swear. For Natchez, second foul now. 4 players on Duquesne each have 2 fouls, so no one in big-time foul trouble, but a lot of guys starting to creep up there, and a big part of Fordham getting back in the game as Henry makes his first was that they got into the bonus with about 8 minutes left to go. So for Fordham to have taken 7 first-half free throws, maybe not a great figure, but to draw an early foul again here, sign of a good thing's coming.
Henry, 2 for 3 so far at the line, misses that one. Now 2 for 4. 4 points tonight so far. 5-point deficit for the Rams. Quick in transition 3, no good from Williams from the left wing. Tried to get it back, and dive amongst the cheerleaders. Couldn't get there. It'll go back toward the Rams. Rams have it going left to right in their home white uniforms. Maroon names and numbers. Duquesne going right to left in their dark blue away uniforms with white names and numbers traced in dark blue as well. A really nice look for the Duquesne Dukes.
How about this, Chris? Kingston Price into the game after just a minute. Chris Henry struggled the first minute. Bad turnover. He's got 4 turnovers now. Kingston Price had a great first half. Magpie wants to see what he's got.
Reeves going left around to Schulte screen. Kicks it out for Price. Price dumps it off to Schulte. Schulte done a good job handling the ball at the top of the key. Loses it there. Broadcaster's jinx. On the floor, a bunch of guys on the floor. It would be called a held ball. Possession arrow going the other way. It'll be Duquesne getting the ball back. Schulte's done a good job of being effective as a ball handler at the top of the key there. Got himself in some trouble.
It's just a tricky one where Fordham takes 20 seconds before trying to get any penetration, just passing back and forth at the top of the key, and then it forces a big man to try and do it himself, and Schulte's going to be subbed out early too.
Kingston Price seemingly the choice when compared to Christian Henry so far this afternoon. Crawford driving left baseline, kicks it all the way out to the right wing. Williams tried to up and under pass it under the basket. Whitbourne took it away. Fordham going the other way. Jacobs fakes the dribble handoff, gets it to Whitbourne, top of the arc, guarded tightly by Dixon. Price has it top of the arc, right around a Whitbourne screen, guarded tenaciously by Ginyard. Gets it to Day Reeves. Day Reeves splitting defenders, meeting at the body at the rim, and can't get the layup to go. It'll stay on this side with the Rams off Duquesne.
Good possession there for the Rams. From Reeves, and a better possession for a Fordham team that struggled offensively to start the second half. But how about the fight from Bodija? Earns another offensive rebound. 13-1 in that category. It's keeping Fordham in this game.
It's the major discrepancy that Fordham's winning in this one so far. Price to Day Reeves, right wing. Tried driving inside again. Got it taken away again. Ginyard has it the other way for Duquesne. And that's going to be a reach-in foul on Day Reeves. Not a foul. The Rams want to pick up only his first, but you want to limit your fouls down the stretch. It'll stay on this side with Duquesne. Fordham found their only success in the A-10 when their opponent struggled in the foul game. St. Bonaventure had a player foul out of that one, a few other players in foul trouble. Really was a major difference late in that one. Ginyard faking the pass left, gets it inside to Dixon. Dixon's right-handed floater, no good from 10 feet, and Fordham will move the other way offensively. It's Day Reeves leading the pack into a cutting Whitbourne, a rolling Whitbourne. No good on the left side of the rim, and another defensive rebound brought down by Ginyard. He's going the other way. Kick to the right corner. That three, no good off the right side of the rim from Crawford. Whitbourne controls it on the defensive glass, and the Rams have it offensively. Rams moving left to right. Bodija has it, top of the arc to Whitbourne left wing. Whitbourne palming the ball, dribble handoff to Price. Another dribble handoff to Day Reeves. Reeves right around a Whitbourne screen, working on the much bigger Dixon. Lob pass inside to Bodija. He's mugged under the rim, puts up a shot, no good. Whitbourne on the second chance, no good. A continuing amount of dominance on the offensive glass, Joe, and a continuing amount of misses around the rim.
Brutal. 2 missed tips from Whitbourne, 1 missed tip from Odija the other way. You love the fight, but man, if Fordham just puts some more of these in, they're winning this game.
That was a specific goal you talked about in the first half. Dixon straight on 3. No good for the big man. Rebound brought down by Bodija, the transfer from UCR.
Yeah, Chris, it's been a pattern. You can get all the offensive rebounds you want, but if you can't convert off of them, it doesn't mean anything.
Price has it in the right corner. He steps out of bounds, and Kingston Price will inflict the unforced turnover on the Rams. Duquesne will get it back.
Yeah, 4 early turnovers this half for Fordham, just 1 for Duquesne. That's been the story. The offense has not clicked at all. Fordham hasn't scored in over 3 minutes. Neither has Duquesne, so that's how the Rams keep staying in it. The defense has been fantastic, but the offense has been ugly.
Rams 1 for their last 12 from the field. Obviously, those second chance opportunities pile up on the field goal percentage. Crawford gets it to Ginyard, top of the arc, right around a Dixon screen. Gets it to Dixon, rolling, puts up a right-handed layup, no good. Good interior defense from Jack Whitbourne.
It's been fantastic, and it's keeping Fordham alive that Dixon is not able to score inside.
Rams now operating offensively. Day Reeves realizes he's unguarded, takes a 10-foot jumper, and hits it. Good spatial awareness there by Day Reeves. He's got the Rams back within 3. 33-30, 15 and a half to go in the second half.
How many times this season have we seen Day Reeves end a scoreless run with a midi to get this offense going? Huge for Fordham.
Nate just tries to get into Dixon. He does. Dixon on the right block, backing down Jacobs. Jacobs doing a good job inside, and that's going to be a whistle. I believe that one is going to be on Akira Jacobs. Jack Whitbourne with his mouth fully open in shock at that call.
I'm not sure what Jacobs could have done differently there. It was good defense. Bodied up Dixon. Dixon was trying to knife his way inside from the right block. Jacobs still has his hands in the air. We were talking about it earlier. I mean, he's got his hands in the air for 30 seconds there. He can't believe it. And this guy who's as friendly as anyone, he's talking to the ref. You don't see that a lot.
Fordham continues to fight. It's now a 3-point game, 33-30. Duquesne leads, 15-17 to go in this second half. We're going to take a little break from the Rose Hill Gym. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace McCarran and I'm one of your 2025-26 New York Islanders beat reporters for WFUV Sports. Follow me on X at @GraceMcCarran_ for live game updates, features, and other inside content from the island all season long. From the development of first overall pick Matthew Schaefer to incredible saves by Ilya Sorokin, WFUV Sports has you covered every step of the way as the Isles look towards the postseason. WFUV is your home for New York sports.
Chris Carino joined by my partner Joe Henry. 15-17 to go in the Bronx. A 33-30 lead for the Duquesne Dukes. The Duquesne Dukes have led almost the entire way in this one. They had a big lead in the first half. That lead has slowly dwindled away going into halftime and has sort of stayed the same in this second half. The Fordham Rams not going anywhere, Joe.
Not at all. And for a team shooting 26.8% from the field, what's been the theme all season? Finding a way towards wins. But what's been another theme, Chris, as we look towards these final 15-17? Inconsistency down the stretch. We've seen this Fordham team a lot, especially when it's been undermanned. And yes, they have a boss, Bodija, back today. That'll help stretch together 30 minutes in which, look, it's not perfect, it's not consistent, but you're right in the game against a good team. That's what Fordham's doing right now, down by just 3 despite all those factors, despite shooting 27%, despite shooting 15% from 3. But the question, can you string together 40 minutes? They've only done it once in A-10 play. That was against St. Bonaventure. They won that game. This is a huge stretch for Fordham, a time in the game where Fordham has won or lost nearly every contest this season.
Maybe the most absurd stat of the afternoon, Joe. The last 20 field goals attempted, only 2 makes for these two teams combined. That is just ridiculous.
Wow, that's incredible.
Ridiculously inefficient.
10%. Pretty much this entire half.
My lord. Duquesne 4-18 scoreless, or they've spent the last 4-18 scoreless, and the Fordham Rams 1 for their last 12 from the field. Pass inside quickly to Williams, driving off the inbound. He makes it, plus the foul. What a play for Duquesne. That was massive.
Wow. They set up Williams alone on the left side of the floor, so Green thought that he was going to wait and get a screen and then curl up top and get the ball to initiate the play, but instead Williams all alone on Green, just fake towards his right and then dodge right to his left, cut inside, wide open. Green is well behind him, has to push him in the back, but Williams had an easy layup.
And Williams converts the three-point play. He now has 8 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. It'll be Day Reeves, the commander for this Fordham team, leading the offense. Stopping at the left elbow, kicks out to Whitbourne, straight on 3. No good. Bounced around the rim a few times, ended up in the hands of Duquesne. Duquesne's moving the other way. Skinyard, some extracurricular activities under the basket. It's Hoogley and Jack Whitbourne. They're tied up. It'll be a foul on Jack Whitbourne. Jack Whitbourne aggravated at that call. Now his 3rd foul of the game.
4th team foul for Fordham. That's something to circle. 14:56 to go for Duquesne to be over halfway to the bonus. That's not good.
Duquesne inbounding on the right side of the baseline, under the basket. Gets it right into Hoogley. Hoogley dribble handoff. Gets it back to Ginyard. Ginyard. Cross-court pass, left corner three. That's good. Duquesne continues to pile it on. This time it's Alex Williams giving them a three. They now have a 9-point lead, 14:39 to go in this second half.
He hasn't done a lot today, but Alex Williams was a guy that Magpie circled on the scouting report because he shoots with conviction, quote, and can beat us when we're in our zone. He does that there.
Christian Henry, faking screen left, going right. Whitbourne has it, ball above his head, top of the arc. Passes to a cutting Day Reeves. Back to Whitbourne. Ball continues to move around the perimeter. Henry takes a three. No good off the screen from Whitbourne. That'll be out of bounds, staying with the Rams, off Duquesne.
Again, the O-boards just keeping Fordham alive. 16-1. 12 rebounds for Whitbourne, 6 for Schulte. Kevin Smith said those two guys are probably the two hardest working guys I've been around in my 20 years of college basketball, player and coach.
We gloated about how great this group of players is. The group of coaches, fantastic as well for the Fordham Rams. Rikas Schulte, dribble handoff, Christian Henry. Henry drifting over to the left wing, now one-on-one with a much bigger defender. To Akira Jacobs, cross-court pass, right wing three. No good. Rebound brought down by Hoogley. The Xavier transfer just so physically imposing down there for Duquesne. A massive frame. Top of the arc, Williams. Left corner pass. Williams wide open. No good off front rim. Christian Henry gets the rebound. He's running immediately. Fordham Rams in transition. Akira Jacobs no good on the layup. Jacobs made a great play to get open with a Euro step and couldn't finish it at the rim.
Wow, it felt like that was a foul too, and I can't believe that's last touch by Fordham either. Because Ginyard in transition, the way smaller defender, nearly a foot shorter than Akira Jacobs, made a lot of contact as Jacobs went to Euro step, and then Jacobs put up the shot. So it was some delayed action there. I would have thought that the whistle would have come though.
Ginyard inside. Once again, Hoogley. Hoogley backing down. Schulte doesn't make the shot. The putback no good as well. Duquesne getting a little bit of Fordham's own medicine as Fordham now tries to work offensively. Day Reeves slides into the left wing. Drifts over to the left corner. Lob pass inside to Bodija. He'll work on the much smaller Michel. In the post. Right-handed hook goes. What a bucket for Ibas Bodija down the stretch. Fordham now within 7. Edwards driving inside, dump off pass. Williams put up a shot, it got blocked, out of bounds, Fordham ball. What a couple of possessions for the Rams.
Blocked it off the shooter out of bounds. That's the kind of turnaround you need if you're Fordham. How about Abbas Bodija? How about that for your first bucket back from an injury that sidelined you all conference play, your first ever A-10 game in a big situation for a Fordham team that had only scored 3 points in its last 7 minutes. To stop the bleeding in a big way and now give this team some momentum.
12:44 to go in this second half. Fordham offense working, down 7. Bodija in the post once again. Left-handed hook, it goes! Doesn't matter which hand he's using, Abbas Bodija is absolute nails in the post right now. He's given his Fordham Rams a massive lift. They're now down just 5, 39-34, 12:21 to play.
And Fordham sticking in this 2-3 zone, which has given Duquesne some problems here.
Hoogley. Right-handed floater, no good. Tried to do his best Abbas Bodija impression. He was unsuccessful. Out of bounds on the baseline. It'll stay with the Dukes. Nice effort by Akira Jacobs. Trying to save that one. Was ultimately unsuccessful.
This zone is allowing some open space around the free throw line, and it's forcing Duquesne's bigs to make the decision of, do I wait for a cutter, which is not something they're frequently looking for, a guy like Hoogley especially, or do I pull up for a 10-foot floater? And more often than not, they've opted for the latter, and they're just not efficient with that kind of shot.
It'll be inbounded by Duquesne under the basket on the left side of the baseline. Gets it in. Hoogley. Schulte almost got to it, didn't. Instead, Hoogley drives to the middle of the lane, stripped by Akira Jacobs. Had a second chance and got fouled on the second chance. I believe it's going to be Rikas Schulte on the shooting foul, and Hoogley's going to go to the line for 2.
Yeah, he is relentless, and he is physical, too. I mean, he's
massive.
Drawing contact. Fordham's doing a great job collapsing. When he drives on one defender, Jacobs comes over, strips him. But the ability to get it back and then draw the foul and go up, it's impressive from Hoogley.
Hughley, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 for 4 at the line so far. He misses that one as well. Now 2 for 5 from the line.
Crazy for a guy who shot 44-55 from the stripe entering today.
Leading scorer for the Dukes, Terrence Ginyard, coming out of this one. That's in favor of Jimmy Williams. No good on the second as well. Free Chick-fil-A in the Bronx. 2 back-to-back missed free throws, and the Rams have momentum. Rose Hill Gym is alive. Christian Henry, left wing 3. No good. Edwards soaring and grabbing that Duquesne rebound. Duquesne stopping at the left wing. Edwards spinning on Price, and an offensive foul. Kingston Price drawing the offensive foul. It was a swim move, I believe, correct? And that'll go toward the Rams.
They gave him the old day-day hook. Maximus Edwards trying to get a step on Kingston Price, had to hook around his back. That's not going to work. It's going to get called. They're starting to call that more often. And Fordham down by 5, finding a way, shooting 27% to still be in this game.
Fordham Rams continue to claw and fight there, as in this one, as you can be 39-34. Duquesne leads, 11:46 to go in the second half. We're going to send it back to the Rose Hill Studios for another one-on-one scoreboard update with Max Perlman. Take it away, Max.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Thank you, guys. Looking at the rest of Fordham athletics, the rest of the week, basketball has a big game against Davidson on Wednesday, while tomorrow, Fordham women's basketball will host a quality St. Bonnie's team, and on Wednesday, they'll have a tough matchup against St. Louis, looking for their first conference win. Tennis has their first matchup of the spring season versus Brown this week, and women's tennis had their first match and win of the spring slate, prevailing 6-1 over Drexel. Track is starting their indoor season, going to at the Armory in New York, and yeah, that's all that's going on in Fordham athletics right now. Kind of an empty week. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, guys, for that one-on-one. I'm Isabella Terracini with a sideline report, here to tell you assistant coach Ryan Hyland emphasized the grit that the Rams need to have when they're all under the basket. He's tired of seeing all of jumping and just like throwing the ball all around. He wants them to be confident in your rebound, push the defender out of your way, and put the ball into the basket. Back to you guys on the call.
Thank you, Isabella. We'll hear from Isabella hopefully one more time. We got one more media timeout here in the Bronx, so hopefully hear from her one more time. She's been fantastic all afternoon long. And so is Coach Magpayo and the Rams coaching staff. I feel like the Rams coaching staff, the zone we've been talking about is indicative of that, but this Rams coaching staff has evolved in a way to keep their team competitive in this one down the stretch. A lot of good signs if you're a Ram fan.
It's only been 8 minutes, but Fordham has already forced 2 3-minute scoreless stretches from Duquesne, and the latter comes from playing that 2-3 zone, and Fordham's really just had to mix it up kind of strategy defensively in A-10 play. They'll throw a man, and then they'll go to zone, and then they'll switch right back. Occasionally they'll throw a press at you. Right now we see them sticking with the zone for really as long as we've seen them do that all season, and Duquesne is having some trouble now. They're shooting just 3 of 12, 25% in the second half.
This one's going to come down to the wire. Duquesne up 39-34, 11:46 to go in the second half. The Rams have trailed all game, but have been within 2 or 3 possessions almost this entire second half. They found themselves down 9, even down single digits at one point, but fought back quickly. Henry starting it off after the timeout. Top of the arc on the Fordham script logo. Some miscommunication between Henry and Bodija. Having some trouble at the top of the arc to Day-Day. Day-Day left wing. Gets it into Bodija at the free throw line. Bodija drives to the right side of the lane. Throws up a shot. Got it, plus the foul. Abbas Bodija with the circus shot plus the and one. And he's got the Fordham Rams energized and the Rose Hill Gym loud, I might add.
How about back down Bodija? 3
like
straight buckets for
that
the redshirt freshman.
That one he just straight up threw at the rim. That wasn't even necessarily a shot attempt. What an impressive play by Abbas.
Draw the contact, throw up a shot, hope it goes in. When you're Abbas Bodija, the way he's played the last 5 minutes, of course it'll go. And the free throw too.
Abbas, first season in college basketball this season, redshirted with Coach McPaio at UC Riverside last season. Williams now has it for the Duquesne offense, left wing. Now top of the arc. Natchez to DiMichele, left wing three, nothing but net. Almost didn't touch the net. DiMichele has Duquesne back out to a 5-point lead. 42-37, 10:57 to go in the second half.
It's out of nowhere, that shot. If you think of him like catch-and-shoot shooter, he was waiting for a screen and they just pulled up NBA range.
Henry going through the middle of the lane, and up and under layup with the right hand is good. Christian Henry's offense has been needed for this Fordham team, and maybe it's finally arrived.
It's huge. He went 2 for 3 to start the day against St. Louis, and then 2 for his next 14.
A really physical screen at the top of the key. No foul called. Williams misses the top of the arc three, and that'll be on the floor. A foul on the Rams. Aricha.
Really brutal sequence, because that probably should have been a moving screen set by Duquesne against Henry, who went to the floor, but he is a guy who's known to take a dive, and then the foul getting called against Bodija on the rebound. Next one has Duquesne in the bonus.
Williams to DiMichele off the inbound. Back to Dixon. Dixon will give it to Edwards. Edwards will reset the offense. Edwards right around a screen. Drives to the right side of the lane. Shows ball. Spins around. Pass out. Williams driving. Absorbs contact and gets it to go. He caught Abbas Bodija on the body and still had the control to finish that one. What a play from Jimmy Williams, the South Florida transfer.
Brutal sequence for Bodija, and now he's up to 4 personal fouls. So your best offensive option the past 5 minutes has to sub out. Rika Schulte, who has struggled offensively the past 3 games, really has to come in. With your team about to go down by 6, that was a brutal sequence.
And we talked about how that foul trouble can really become a major element down the stretch as Williams completes the 3-point play.
Especially for teams like this, it's a Duquesne team that fouls a lot. It's a Fordham team that doesn't draw a lot of fouls, so you figure you combine those 2 elements, whatever the result is, whatever the discrepancy is at the free throw line, could well tell the story of this game.
Christian Henry waltzing at the top of the arc. Going left on DiMichele. Stops at the left elbow. Gives it to Schulte. Top of the arc. He'll take a 3. No good. Swirling around the rim. Edwards wasting no time. Passing the right corner. DiMichele's 3. No good off left side of rim. Rebound fought for by both teams. Multiple bodies on the ground. We'll see who has it. I think a foul was called before the held ball. I think that's going to be a foul on Duquesne. Fordham will have it.
Fordham ball. How about Day Reeves stretching out, full body extension on the floor to get that ball? He had no business being around that play.
Great effort from the collective 5 on the floor. The starting 5 in this one on the floor.
Huge stretch for Fordham.
The 5 guys on the floor, so important for this Fordham team. Jacobs, Day Reeves, Jack Whitborn, Christian Henry, Rika Schulte, possibly the 5 most important guys to Fordham's success.
A player not named Akira Jacobs has not made a 3 so far today. I'd love to see a Jacobs 3 here.
That is gnarly. Day Reeves on the right wing, spinning around a defender, right-handed layup goes. Spun on the much bigger Natchez and got the shot to go. That's Day magic right there. Jack Whitborn complaining under the basket. A lot of physical play with Hughley. He's going to be out of bounds, staying with Duquesne under the basket.
And that was a situation there with Day going to the floor off of that layup where Duquesne looked to push it in transition, but as Fordham has done so well today, setting the half-court defense. Henry stonewalled the ball handler, and Duquesne had to slow it down. They're less efficient now when they're in their half-court sets.
Duquesne inbounding under the basket. Williams going right around the screen through the right side of the lane. Finishes at the rim off the glass with the right hand. A little jelly on that one. And Duquesne, even in the times when Fordham feels like they're getting even, Duquesne always has an answer.
It's been that story all A-10 play, really, for Fordham against these teams, where they stay in it all day, no matter how poor the offensive performance when you look at the stat sheet. But then at this exact stretch, one team starts to pull away, and you have that Fordham make, Duquesne make, Fordham make, Duquesne make. Every punch, a counter punch landed by the opponent. And now for Fordham at home, we've seen this crowd come alive a couple of times. You need to find a way out of this break to put together a score, a stop, and a score, and turn the tide of this game and get the crowd on its feet and build this momentum, seize it, and push it towards a win. That's what they were able to do against Bonaventure in an away game. Now you got to do it with the home crowd behind you.
Fordham Rams nowhere near done yet. They're down 6, 47-41. Duquesne leads, 9:18 to go. in the second half. We'll take a little break from the Rose Hill Gym. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Carino.
And I'm Joe Henry.
Tune in weekly for NFL Friday, your exclusive WFUV sports podcast for all things National Football League.
We'll be covering everything on and off the gridiron for the biggest sports league in the world every week on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcast.
Can the Eagles repeat?
Will the Jets or Giants finally take a leap?
What's Shadur up to?
All of that and more on NFL Friday on WFUV Sports.
Back here in the Boogie Down Bronx, Chris Carino joined by Joe Henry. Joe Henry, what is Shadur Sanders up to?
I couldn't tell you. I think he might be in a fair weather spot right now.
His wrist's up somewhere, letting the people know.
He might be digging his toes into the sand, sipping on a pina colada, and watching the divisional round.
And maybe trying to figure out who his head coach is going to be next year as well.
Maybe he's watching Fordham men's basketball.
That's a distinct possibility. Another guy, not a 0% chance, is watching the game today, LeBron James. One of LeBron James' best friends, Drew Joyce, the head coach of the Duquesne Dukes. Whenever they've gotten big wins over the last couple of years, LeBron James is on Twitter calling out his boy, shouting out his boy. So not a 0% chance that the greatest player, arguably in team sport, is watching this one today. Definitely in basketball. Team sport possible.
And with that, worth noting, this week the NCAA unsealing an indictment that indicts 39 different players in Division I, and Elijah Gray, a former Fordham forward who played for the team 2 years ago, listed among them. He was paid $10,000 alongside an unnamed player to intentionally fix a game so that Fordham would lose. That game was against Duquesne in this building 2 years ago. Fordham somehow went on to win that game despite a couple players trying to lose it.
Kyle Rose, a big factor in that one.
Rose had 23, and then Duquesne ripped off 9 straight wins to advance to the NCAA tournament. So that's the relation to today.
One of the craziest stories in college basketball history when you take it in totality.
Absolutely.
My goodness. Christian Henry on the left wing. Fordham needs to score. Six-point deficit. Day Reeves from the left elbow to the right elbow. Down to the right block. Now kicks it out. Hoogley guarding him. It didn't matter. Day Reeves in the mid-range. Hoogley and Day exchanging some pleasantries during that as well. I think there's a mutual respect there.
When Day got ISO'd on to Hughley, who was 6'10", 265 versus 6'0 guard, Hughley started laughing during the play.
Maniacally, I might add. Nice bullet pass inside. Quick extra pass left corner. Pump fake and drive. It ends up back out to Hoogley. Hoogley the fourth, directing traffic into the right corner. Edwards, pump fakes, almost travels, gets it to a cutting Williams, who finishes at the bucket. The entire Duquesne bench wanted a foul, they didn't get it. Drew Joyce telling the rest of his team to stop complaining. Christian Henry having some trouble in the right wing, he lost the ball. It's Ginyard going the other way for Duquesne, and he lost the ball. Tried to play it up ahead. Day Reeves was there on the steal. Day Reeves pass, Christian Henry, right corner. Pump fake and drive. Gets it to Rika Schulte. Schulte kick out Green. Left corner three. No good. Fordham continuing to struggle, and I mean struggle from long range.
Brutal missed opportunities. This team now 0 for 13 shooting threes if you're not named Akira Jacobs.
If you're not Akira Jacobs, essentially. Jimmy Williams, right wing. Up top, Natchez. Back to Williams. Williams trying to get it into the right post. Rika Schulte committing a foul before getting it there. It'll be on the floor on Rika Schulte going into the timeout.
But it does put Duquesne into the bonus the rest of the way. Now, Hughley has struggled at the free throw line, but overall, 7.5 minutes in the bonus when you're trying to claw back from a 6-point deficit. It's a scary hours for Fordham.
Scary hours for Fordham. A very important 7.5 minutes in the A-10 schedule and the Fordham schedule in general. Fordham trails 49-43, 7:30 to go in this second half. We'll have the rest of that 7 minutes and more right after the break. You're listening to WFUV Sports and Fordham men's basketball.
Want to be part of the Ramley? It all starts here. I'm Nathan Rogers.
And I'm Kate Cox, and we are two of your hosts for On the Hill, WFUV's exclusive podcast for all things Fordham athletics.
From the field of Moglia Stadium to the hardwood of the historic Rose Hill Gym, we've got you covered with the ins and outs of Fordham sports.
Every week, every play, every round. Tune in weekly wherever you get your podcasts. This is On the Hill.
Seven and a half to go in the Bronx. The Fordham Rams have trailed the entire way, but have continued to fight down the stretch of this one. They trail by 6, 49-43. And the Duquesne Dukes, to give them credit, we haven't talked about them as much, but the Duquesne Dukes have continued to hold this Fordham team down, even when Fordham has gone on multiple runs in the first and second half.
Yeah, it's been punch for punch, and every time Fordham has responded to a Duquesne run, Duquesne's had one of their own. And for a game that hasn't had a lot of runs, we're witnessing one right now because Fordham won of its last 12 from 3, and in the meantime, Duquesne 3 of its last 4 from the field, starting to connect on the looks that it does get, even though this Fordham defense has continued to be stingy. And I think with the clock starting to wind down, we're seeing that that could be enough, especially as the Dukes get into the bonus now, 1-1 the rest of the way, up by 6. You have the edge in the past few minutes offensively. They're on the right path towards a win, and Chris, both of these teams need a win badly. Fordham 1-4, Duquesne 1-3. Both these teams think they're a lot better than their record indicate. This is the game where you prove that.
8 team fouls for the Rams, 4 team fouls for Duquesne. The foul trouble has been one of the biggest aspects of the Fordham second half game. Rika Schulte with 4 fouls, or with 1 foul. How many? Who has the 4 fouls for the Rams?
4 fouls for the Rams. I think it's Abbas Bodija.
Abbas Bodija so effective offensively for this Fordham team, scoring 3 straight buckets and getting into that foul trouble. His effectiveness is sort of waned.
Yeah, and worth noting, David Dixon has 4 personals as well, which means a lot of John Hughley minutes, and Hughley has been giving the Rams some challenges lately.
As you said, Hughley suspended from the team by his head coach. One of his first games back. It's his first game back?
Second game now. Played a bit, 10 minutes against Dayton, only had 3 points. But again, it's the guy who scored 25 points in 3 separate contests this year.
It's a guy who played for Xavier in the Big East.
Yeah, he played for Oklahoma before that, and then Pitt for 3 years before that.
A true accurate example of the modern college basketball. Hughley and his reverse Grinch Kobe 6 is good at the line. Good on the free throw. Now 7 points, 4 rebounds for Hughley. 8-point lead for Duquesne, 51-43, still 7.5 to go. Fordham still with a lot of time on the clock, Joe.
No doubt.
Henry.
You got to start now.
Henry looks tired, top of the arc, pass to Day Reeves. Left wing, fakes around the screen, splits defenders, middle of the paint. Fade away, jumper, no good from the mid-range. Duquesne gets it back again. Duquesne slowly demoralizing this Fordham team down the stretch. Ginyard, deep on the right wing. Natchez, back to Ginyard. Ginyard left around the screen, now right around the screen. Gets past Whitbourne, up at the rim, contested layup, no good. A scrum for it under the basket, bodies on the floor once again. I believe it's Natchez of Duquesne with possession. It's going to be Rams ball, a held ball there called. Yep. And the held ball possession arrow to the Rams.
Because of the jump ball earlier, Day Reeves leaping from the left wing towards the low block to get a hand on that ball turns into a Duquesne turnover. That's huge for Fordham.
Fordham still only trailing by 8, 51-43, 6:52 to go in the second half. Day Reeves gets to Whitbourne. Whitbourne back up top to Schulte. Schulte dribble handoff Jacobs. That's an off-ball foul. That one's going to go on Crawford. Crawford got Christian Henry going around the screen off the ball, and that's going to be a reach-in. Inbound under the basket by the Rams.
5 fouls now for Duquesne, so Fordham inching towards the bonus as well.
2 fouls for 3 players on the floor for Duquesne. And that inbound poked away and then grabbed in the air by Ginyard. He's going the other way. Whitbourne falls in transition. Seems like he's banged up, and Ginyard finishes it in transition. Whitbourne frustrated with his teammate, Christian Henry, as well. The vibes not great with this Ram team right now.
No. I haven't seen that level of frustration between players all year, really. Henry has 5 turnovers now. That last one was a bad pass.
Henry working it at the top of the arc. Seems like he's frustrated with the off-ball movement as well. Day Reeves, right wing, guarded by the much bigger forward. Pops out, kicks it out. Christian Henry, right around a Whitbourne screen. Defender was ready for it. Gets it to Day Reeves, left wing 3, no good. Whitbourne tracks down the offensive rebound. Christian Henry with a second chance. Just under 6 minutes to go in the second half. 15 on the shot clock. Henry, left wing, driving through the lane. Dump off pass doesn't go. Bad pass leads to Duquesne in transition. Alley-oop finished with a layup at the rim. That one finished by Jimmy Williams. Duquesne just completely just taking all the life out of this Fordham team down the stretch.
It reads 6 turnovers for Henry, but that one I blame on Whitbourne because Henry had nowhere to go there. And on that dump-off pass, Whitbourne, he needs to take a step inside because if he takes one more step, he's wide open for a layup on the right block. And you have to know the ball handler's driving inside. He just went up. Either he's going to shoot it or he's going to leave it off for you. And with 2 defenders crashing towards him and you being left wide open, you have to take that one more step forward, get the ball, finish with the layup. Instead, it's a turnover. This Duquesne team runs as fast as anyone, and it's a free 2 points the other way. A 4-point swing, really consecutive 4-point swings off of 2 turnovers.
The efficiency for the Rams has been arguably its biggest villain. 30% from the field, 17 for 56. As you've said all night, Joe, 2 for 20 for the Rams from deep. It's going to be hard to beat any team, regardless of the level, when you're shooting that poorly from the three-point line.
Yeah, I mean, virtually no chance to win a game. You make 2 shots on 20 tries. For that to comprise nearly 40% of your shot attempts, but for you to be that inefficient, it just doesn't make sense.
It's going to be Kingston Price inbounding this one to Day Reeves. Day Reeves going to let it dribble, get a couple extra seconds on the clock. It's now a 12-point lead for Duquesne, double digits. Day Reeves through the left side of the lane, absolutely covered by maybe 4 defenders. It didn't matter. He got the layup to go. Duquesne moving quickly the other way, literally wasting 0 time. Jimmy Williams too quick on the layup, and he missed it.
It's good for Fordham. Get the ball back fast.
Day Reeves, left wing, gives it to Whitbourne. Left wing 3, no good. Left wide open, and he missed it. It's going to be Duquesne slowly taking it up in the backcourt. Ginyard directing traffic, drifting over deep on the right wing. Ginyard on the left wing, picked up by 2 defenders. Cross-court pass, right corner 3, it's good. Cam Crawford has that one swirl all the way around the rim and go in. Duquesne now with a 13-point lead. 4:48 to go in the second half. Day Reeves elevating on the much bigger Hoogley and getting that one to go at the rim. Day Reeves, what a play. The magic continues, even with his team really losing momentum.
At times all season, Day-Day's been the only offense for this team, especially late in games. That's what we're seeing now.
Nate Natchez driving to the rim. It's going to be an offensive foul. That one on Duquesne. And it's going to go back the other way toward the Rams. That foul inflicted on Cam Crawford, the Marshall transfer.
He tried to create a seal, like a Gortat seal, if you will, or a Tice seal, so that the ball handler could drive right inside and there would be no help defense. But the ref saw it was too aggressive, ruled an off-ball foul.
Day Reeves, left wing to Whitbourne. Wide open top of the arc to Price. Price gets it into Bodija. Bodija has trouble holding on to it, and he's going to go out of bounds. It's going to be Fordham ball called by the official on the baseline, but all 5 guys on the floor for Duquesne going up to their coaching staff and asking for that one to be reviewed.
Fordham's got to get this ball in fast because that was out. That was definitely off of Bodija's foot.
And Drew Joyce quickly calling a timeout. I think they're going to review this one. 4:20 to go on the second half clock. It's a 58-47 lead for the Duquesne Dukes. The Duquesne Dukes continue to demoralize the Fordham Rams down the stretch. There'll be a 30-second timeout. We'll stay here. And I believe it's going to be Fordham ball. They're going to review it at the midpoint of the scores table directly across from us now.
So the ruling on the floor, Fordham ball. It was an entry pass from Kingston Price into a Boss Bodija, posted up. Bodigia perhaps a little antsy because he has those 4 fouls, misses on his first attempt to grab the entry pass. It hits off his fingertips, and as he stutters towards the baseline to grasp it with 2 hands, the ball once again hits off of his fingertips, straight down off of his foot, out of bounds. Now, a Duquesne defender had his arms in the area, but I'm fairly certain that ball touched off his toe last.
And the Duquesne Dukes out there, the 5 of them, very adamant about it almost immediately. Duquesne coaching staff can afford to take a timeout right now, not necessarily holding on to those. So even if you don't decide to review it, Joe, you can kind of give yourself a breather almost, and give yourself just a few minutes to talk it over. What a normal person would call a timeout.
What a normal person would call a timeout. I mean, that's kind of the added benefit of challenging a call when you're winning, because if it is overturned, then that's essentially a turnover and a big swing in the game. We've seen a lot of those the past 2 minutes, but it's also late in the game when you have a guy in foul trouble like Dixon, a guy like John Hughley, 6'10", 265. It gives those guys a breather, and they're going to be refreshed when they go back out there. Fordham, doesn't really matter how much energy they have. They got 4:20 to claw back from this deficit. The most important thing for them right now is limiting these turnovers, because they've committed 8 now in this half, or it's going to be 8 when this is overturned, and this team just can't afford to continue to squander away possessions.
And you're right, we really haven't seen much of David Dixon here tonight. Obviously picked up those 4 fouls, easily the longest standing Duquesne Duke. Been there a very long time, and has been a steady presence for their team for a long time. I wonder if Hughley is obviously some of that foul trouble, but also maybe just who they think is maybe giving them a better look, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the foul trouble is
dynamic.
the first part, but Hughley's like, I mean, he looks like a man amongst boys when he's out there. He is absolutely huge, and where Dixon is typically a prolific post scorer, he really just hasn't had that in his bag so far. He's 1 for 2 on his signature post hook, and then he has a floater that he missed, and then other than that, 2 missed threes. He just hasn't been a super impactful guy when he's on the floor, and in 15 minutes, just 2 rebounds. Fordham has bullied Duquesne in the rebounding department. John Hughley's a big enough guy that you just can't contend with him sometimes.
A great get for Duquesne, a guy you spoke about earlier. Has been with 3 different Power 5 programs. And it'll be Fordham ball, I believe, after the review.
They call it unsuccessful. I can't believe that. I'd have to see another view of it, because it looks like it just trickled off of the foot of Bodigia and out of bounds.
One of the officials walked over to the USA Network crew right next to us and let them know immediately. We need a few more years, Joe, to get that sort of cred. A few more years.
A few more. We're working towards it. That's a big break for Fordham, but
Massive.
You have to convert here. You need to convert.
What would you like to see in Akira Jacobs 3 here?
You take the words out of my mouth.
Kingston Price on the right side of the baseline, inbounding this one. Rams down 11, need a bucket terribly. That's going to be a foul. It's going to be Dixon and Jimmy Williams pushing Day-Day Reeves out of bounds on the sideline, and that's going to be a foul on Jimmy Williams. So the foul won't go on Dixon. He'll stay in the game, but Day-Day Reeves going to the line. Fordham in the bonus.
So this is where late in games, Reeves' aggression is going to really pay dividends, because look, that was a foul away from the basket, but when Fordham is trailing in games late, Reeves does everything possible to get to the cup, and he does it with great efficiency. We've seen it all year, where he's just rifling right towards the net, puts up a shot, draws a foul, whatever it might be. When you're in the bonus now, it really incentivizes him to be as aggressive as possible.
There's a miss on the second free throw. Duquesne has it now. 58-47 Duquesne lead, 4:10 to go in the second half. Duquesne trying to put the nail in the coffin. Ginyard, dribble handoff, Williams, top of the arc, back out, straight on 3. No good from Natchez. That's going to be a foul on the floor. It's going to be a Fordham foul. Duquesne will have more free throws.
Foul on Jacobs, just as I said it. Dixon struggling in the rebounding game against these Fordham bigs. He draws the foul. That's a big one.
Dixon out there, as we said, in foul trouble. His coach trusts him enough to stay out there and not commit his 5th foul.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's playing in his 115th game. So I think he has a pretty good understanding of how aggressive he can be, how conservative he can be offensively, defensively, rebounding the ball. It's a big drawn foul. Duquesne's in the double bonus after this.
Dixon on the free throw. No good off back iron. Day Reeves now has it. Still an 11-point deficit for the Rams. They need to score. Day Reeves loses the ball at the top of the key. Gets it to Whitbourne. Avoids disaster. Akira Jacobs, left corner three. Got it! The only guy to make a three in maroon all afternoon long just hit another one. It's now an 8-point game. Duquesne leads 58-50, 3:30 to go in the second half.
Sometimes you need a break. Day Reeves loses the ball, sprawls on the floor, passes it out. The whole defense collapses, turns into an Akira Jacobs three. We've been waiting for that.
And Ginyard creating separation, getting in the lane and finishing at the rim. It must have moved Day Reeves 3 feet laterally. Duquesne after the bucket, still up 10. 3:07 to go in the second half. Christian Henry deep on the right wing for the Fordham offense. Resetting it, going left around a Whitbourne screen. Takes a straight on three. It's good! The Fordham three-point shooting is waking up, and what a time for that. What a time for it too. 2:50 to go. 7-point deficit for the Rams. 60-53 Duquesne. Kick out, right corner. Back out to Williams, Jimmy Williams. Gonna give it to Ginyard to reset the offense. 13 on the shot clock. Straight on three, no good off right side of rim. A rebound under the basket, and the second chance is good. Joe, you pointed at it during the possession. What did you see?
That was a very smart play from Ginyard because he saw Netchus one-on-one with Day Reeves in the left corner. He motioned him towards the post. He fired up a deep three. It wasn't a great look. Either it goes in or it rims out, and you have a nearly 1 foot discrepancy between your offensive rebounder and the defender. It's going to turn into an O-board. That's exactly what that is. Netchus gets the board, gets the layup to go. That's a crucial play for Duquesne. Great awareness from Ginyard and Netchus.
The way they've been able to consistently score down the stretch, that's the only reason they continue to maintain their lead. They've played decently defensively, but it's every time Fordham punches, they immediately have a punch back. That's why they are where they are.
I mean, yeah, back-to-back threes from Fordham. You'd think that the momentum's squarely in their favor all of a sudden, but Duquesne has come back and scored on each of those possessions.
Fordham Rams still trailed by 9, 62-53, 2:28 to go in the second half. Fordham going to try and make their final push at a victory this afternoon. Christian Henry walking as close as he can to the Duquesne bench, maybe picking up one or two things said, and he'll inbound it in the backcourt. It'll be Jacob, Schulte, Whitbourne, Reeves, and of course Christian Henry. That's the 5 out there for the Rams. The starting 5. They're going to try and inbound this one. They will. Christian Henry has it. Henry going left around a Whitbourne screen. Now at the left wing. Takes a three. No good off front rim. Whitbourne there on the offensive rebound. Kicked it out to Jacobs. Pump fake. Driving inside. Getting past multiple defenders and scoring at the rim. Akira Jacobs impressively keeps the Fordham Rams offense consistent.
That's what I'm talking about from Jacobs. Attack the closeout and finish. He's so good when he does that. He just never does it.
2 minutes to go in the second half. 7-point lead for Duquesne, 62-55. Natchez, top of the key to Dixon. Dixon has his point guard go around his screen. At the rim, Ginyard put up a shot. No good on the shot, but he'll be fouled. Christian Henry shocked on the foul call. Nonetheless, Ginyard to go to the line for 2.
And that was a really close one. Henry was in help on Ginyard. He went straight up, initially drew the contact. I thought he was clean there, but then I thought as he came down, his hands kind of came over himself, so no longer in legal guarding position. I think that's their argument on the call. But that's a backbreaker.
And Akira Jacobs fouling out of this one. Upset walking back to his bench. He's been good
they
tonight.
called that on Jacobs?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was upset. He didn't even break stride. Immediately walked toward his bench in a monotone fashion. Akira Jacobs, known to have one of the biggest personalities on this team. Weird to see him so downtrodden. You like that? Downtrodden?
Downtrodden's good, but Marcus Green's going to come in for him. That means you have your 2 big guys charged with rebounding the ball, Schulte and Whitbourne. First free throw good from Ginyard. But now you have a guy in Marcus Green who's been so cold and so quiet recently. 26 minutes, 3 points against SLU. 10th straight game without registering 10 points. That's a guy who's spacing the floor, needs to be able to hit a 3 down the stretch for Fordham if they're to stay in this game.
Fordham getting in a mini huddle at the paint, now moving over toward their head coach, Coach Mike McPile, the 5 standing around their head coach along with the rest of the coaching staff. And both teams in a 30-second timeout here, I believe, just trying to draw a few extra things up. What could Coach McPaio be stressing right now in this huddle, Joe?
And I think it starts defensively because the offense has been perfect. I think in this specific huddle, if you want the objective answer, he's drawing up a play for out of the break. So a little press break. Fordham hasn't had any trouble dealing with the press. And then I would say setting up a ball screen for Reeves to get to the cuff. That's been the most successful option for them. Now, if Marcus Green was a little hotter from 3, I'd love to see your shooter, he's in place of Jacobs, get a good look here because Fordham down by 8, 1:44 to go. You really start to need threes in this situation, but expect offense to be the name of the game in that huddle.
Ginyard, good on the free throw. He's been fantastic tonight. 9 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. Day to Whitbourne, straight on 3. It's blocked. Dixon got a piece of it. Schulte grabbed it off the block and scored. Can't really call it a second chance, more like the first, but nonetheless, Rams get a bucket. Rams now down 7. 1.5 minutes to go in this second half. Natchez, top of the arc, getting double teamed, trying to find the open man. Finds Ginyard, top of the arc. Fordham Rams doubling every ball carrier. Right corner 3. It's good. After an array of double teams, Cam Crawford left wide open in the right corner, and he made Fordham pay. Fordham now down 10, 67-57 with a minute and counting. Whitbourne, good there on the right-handed floater. Coach Mike McPaio calling timeout almost immediately. Rams down 8, 67-59, 56.5 on the game clock. Joe?
That's an ugly one. For a guy in Cam Crawford who's shot 31% from 3 this year, he's 4 for 6, and he's killing Fordham when Fordham chooses to double or Fordham gets caught in rotation. Every time it turns into an open Crawford 3 from the corner. He's finding a way. This is a guy who entered today 0 for his last 9 from 3, 2 of his last 19 from the field. But it's also the guy who led the A-10 in three-point percentage a year ago. And in a big-time A-10 game, a guy who's been here before is making the big shots. That last one, the nail in the coffin.
The mentality offensively for Duquesne has been fantastic. Even that possession right there, it seemed every time a player got the ball, he was immediately looking for the open man. When you double team and you're double teaming the guy with the ball the entire possession, someone's left open the entire possession. This Duquesne team trying to find that guy. It's a selfless brand of offensive basketball. It's a tough brand of offensive basketball. If they can continue to mold this identity throughout the season, they're going to be way more successful than they have been so far.
Talk about that. The 23 made field goals, 19 of them have been assisted. That's almost 90%. Fordham 24 made field goals, only 10 of them have been assisted. Now, points are points no matter how you get them. With this Duquesne team, as you said, the unselfishness, especially late game situations. Fordham's throwing double teams at you, trying to throw these weird coverages. Duquesne players have no problem just passing up to the next man and creating a great look from a good look. That's been the difference down the stretch.
Selflessness, very powerful in the A-10, vital in the Atlantic 10. Going to be inbounded by Duquesne. Fordham in a full court press. 8-point deficit, 56.6 on the game clock. It'll be, of course, point guard Terrence Ginyard inbounding it. Gets it to Williams. Williams double teamed by Green and Reeves. Gets it to Crawford, still not over half court. Duquesne having some trouble, and a timeout called. The all-too-savvy Drew Joyce gets the timeout right before the 10-second call, and that'll stay with Duquesne.
Now, notably, this inbound's going to be in the full court, and the shot clock is down to 23. So Duquesne out of this break, be mindful, will have just 3 seconds to get it across, and Fordham's probably going to do everything possible to ensure that they do not.
Not a ton of time. 23 seconds.
Well, you got 3 seconds till the 10-second violation.
Well, yeah, and you're used to NBA with 24. The odds of them using the full shot clock are honestly low. In the college game, I feel like even with the bigger shot clock, that whole shot clock is getting used a lot more.
Yeah, especially for Fordham. Duquesne not as much, but Fordham uses as much shot clock as any team in the country virtually. But for Duquesne, if they're able to get the ball across in these next 3 seconds, then boom, you got 46 seconds on the game clock, and you're going to have 20 on the shot clock. 8-point discrepancy, that's way too much time for Duquesne. It's going to mean that Fordham's going to have to foul or choose to just play it out, try and get a turnover and pull off a miracle here, but there's just not enough time for Fordham.
forcing a turnover does seem to be the best option.
Really, the only option that would yield winning. Of course, it's always the best option, but if you don't get it, then it raises the question of if you foul. I mean, they're in the double bonus. They're already up 8. There's 45 seconds left. Do you bother doing that? Do you just wait for a miss? But if you wait for a miss, there's only going to be 25 seconds left. Game's practically over.
Could be a long last minute here in the Bronx. Could be a long last minute here in the Bronx. It all depends on how seriously Coach Magpayo plays the foul game. Players trot back out on the floor, exactly 49 seconds on the game clock. Duquesne still with a 67-59 lead. Will be inbounded directly across from us on the sideline, and it'll be inbounded by Natchez, Jakob Natchez. Czech Republic native going to try and get this one in. He does. To Ginyard. Ginyard fouled in the backcourt, and it's going to be a foul on Kingston Price, and it's going to send Duquesne to the line. Ginyard having just a fantastic night so far. 9 points, 9 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 9 points, 9 assists, 0 fouls.
It's impressive for a guy who leads the team in scoring, 4th in the Atlantic, 10 in scoring, to be doing so much else. 9 assists, I mean, that might be a career high for Ginyard.
As we talked about earlier, that selflessness identity this Duquesne team has, it radiates through all their players.
No doubt. Ginyard makes the first. 9 assists, 6 steals. I'm just seeing this now. That's my literal reaction.
Holy
he has
moly.
6 steals.
Wow.
Done a great job guarding the ball handlers, especially Chris Henry. 9 points, 3 of 9 shooting.
Might be the least amount of points ever scored by a guy that can win A-10 Player of the Week, as that one's good as well.
Absolutely. And for Henry, 6 turnovers.
Not great. Timely turnovers as well. 10-point lead for Duquesne after the free throw. Day-Day inside, driving through the lane. Good at the rim on the right side of the lane, plus the foul. Day-Day Reeves gets that one to go and a chance to make it 3 at the line.
It's so funny. In these situations where Fordham feels like they're effectively out of the game, it's always Day-Day Reeves keeping them just within margin of reality of it being possible for them to win. Just keeping that door a little bit ajar, and it's because he's just so aggressive offensively, and it almost just makes you think, like, I wish he would just do that for 40 minutes, what he did against Bonaventure, just that ultra-aggressive level. Frankly, this team just doesn't have enough scorers to deter you from that kind of strategy.
Reeves completes the three-point play at the line. It's now a 7-point deficit for the Rams, 69-62, 40.4 on the game clock. Day-Day Reeves, Christian Henry in the backcourt. Full court press for the Rams. Abbas Bodija on the inbound. Be Williams to get this one in, and a foul on Day-Day Reeves. Williams comes off walking gingerly after that play. He's limping on his left foot.
I didn't see what happened there. Day-Day kind of shoved him in the back. Nothing malicious or, you know, overly physical there. Wasn't a dirty play is what I'm trying to say.
One of 3 players on the floor
foul.
wearing the exact same pair of sneakers.
You're right. And the pairs of sneakers are not the same shoe on either foot.
They are not. Jimmy Williams rocking what the Kobe 8s, what the being a slightly out there Nike campaign they do every year for their line of basketball sneakers. That Kobe 8, known as one of the most loved basketball shoes of all time. Williams was walking gingerly on the purple sneaker as he missed the first free throw. The what the Kobe 8 is one side purple, one shoe purple, the other shoe green and yellow. And he was walking gingerly pretty hard on that left foot. Might have stepped on an ankle or stepped on another foot, as that second free throw is good as well. South Florida transfer, productive in this one as well. Reeves, right wing, just takes a heave right away. No good from a step or two behind the arc, and Dixon's there on the rebound. 28.5 after the foul. 70-62 Duquesne lead with Dixon going to the line for 2. David Dixon.
Yeah, that just about does it off the missed 3. Free throws rest of the way. I don't think that Fordham is going to foul after this.
Yeah, 28.5 on the game clock. The shot clock is gone.
Double bonus, 2 for Duquesne. So 2 no matter what for Dixon off a non-shooting foul.
Duquesne trying to compound on their 8-point lead. They don't there. First free throw is missed by Dixon.
That's what makes this game even more frustrating for Fordham, is that Duquesne has taken 22 free throws. That's too many, but they're only 14 of 22, 63%, and yet they still have that 8-point advantage.
With just how inefficient Fordham was shooting the ball today. just can't really put yourself in a position to win, as the second free throw is good. Now a 9-point lead for Duquesne. 23 seconds left. Christian Henry gets up a three and gets fouled. Draws a foul from behind the three-point line. Didn't get the shot to go, but he'll go to the line for 3 free throws.
He's done that play a lot where he gets the defender on his back off of a screen and just pulls up for 3, draws the contact, and tries to get the foul called, so we'll get 3 shots at the line. It almost never gets called, but in this exact type of situation, down bad, and oh my goodness, he just airballed a free throw.
Completely airballed the free throw. We thought the Christian Henry free throw woes couldn't get any worse. They just did.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a guard airball a free throw like that.
Specifically a guard. Man. That's an interesting...
That one barely hit the front of the rim.
And that one barely hit the front of the rim. Christian Henry with a bit of the yips right now. That's an interesting added thing you just said. I don't think I've ever seen a guard airball a free throw either. And the third one is
besides
good.
Me.
Well, I don't know if you're more of a combo wing.
That's right. That's right.
As the third free throw goes in for Christian Henry, I'm sure he was relieved. 22.2 on the game clock, and the Fordham Rams are going to foul. Or they're actually going to trap, not going to foul. That ball passed into the front court. Dixon trying to slam it down to end this one, and Marcus Green there to stop it. Fordham Rams still fouling and playing as hard as they were playing in the beginning of this one, down 8 with 14 seconds left. Not sure how much ground Coach Mike McPio thinks he can make up in that time.
Well, I think the goal in the full court was don't foul, trap, and if they get it across, the game's over. But then Dixon got it across, and then he was threatening your pride by trying to go up for a dunk, so Green had to defend that and commit the foul.
Fair, it's probably fair.
But from here on out,
Dixon makes the first.
I'd expect Fordham will shoot off of this, 14.5 down 9, but game's out of hand. I don't think they foul after the shot.
Dixon on the second free throw. It's good. Dixon, 5 points, 4 rebounds tonight, and a night where he really struggled in the foul game. Christian Henry takes a quick 3 from the right wing, no good, and that's a rebound by Duquesne. And Kingston Price fouling after the play. Fordham continuing to foul, 7 seconds left, down now 10 points.
Henry was Price was trying to say, I'm not fouling, but he did commit a foul.
Why is he wrapping the guy?
He
You're not trying to foul, step 20 feet away from him.
Literally.
Leave the gym. You don't have to. There's no reason he needs to be that close to that
You could tell
player.
the referees. I mean, the referees, he committed the foul, and the ref took 3 seconds to call it because the ref didn't really know. Like, obviously, there's no point calling the foul because the game is over. It's a 10-point game with 6 seconds left. But a foul is being committed.
Jimmy Williams going to the line for 2, 18 points tonight, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Another guy who just stuffed the stat sheet this afternoon.
No
Good
doubt.
on the second
we
free
haven't
throw.
talked about him enough, but this kid, he's got 15-plus points in 7 straight games now.
That quick 3 heaved away in the final seconds. No good for Day Reeves. And the Duquesne Dukes get a major win on the road in the conference with a 74-63 win over the hosting Fordham Rams. What a win, Joe, for a Duquesne team with only a sole win in the conference up to this point.
That's a big one that they needed badly. And for a Duquesne team with Hughley in the mix off of the suspension, and we talked about Jimmy Williams just now, we talked about Terrence Ginyard. There's so much talent here, and then you add in guys like Cam Crawford and David Dixon, guys who have so much collegiate experience, Maximus Edwards, Alex Williams on the bench. This team has a wealth of talent. They have depth, they have scoring at the top, they have a balanced attack, 1 through 5, they have positional size. Look, maybe they're not an A-10 contender, but this team I think is better than that 1-3 record indicate. They played better than that record indicated today, and for Fordham to drop to 1-5, they had played well through 4 games. Make it 1-3 with the win over Bonaventure. You call the St. Louis game a wash. It was ugly, it wasn't pretty, but St. Louis in a league of their own. And then you say, all right, what can they prove to us today? Even matchup on your home floor, the kind of team that you're trying to suggest you're better than, and a flat performance.
And the Fordham Rams moving on to a game next Wednesday. They'll be on the road, and they'll take on Davidson. We have Coach joining us. Coach, a tough one. Coach Derek Phelps joining us. Sorry, Coach Derek Phelps. Coach, a rough one, especially down the stretch. It seemed your team struggled offensively. What specifically offensively had your team struggling so much down the stretch?
That's hard to say. I think they did a great job defensively. You know, kept us on the side, icing us on the sideline and stuff like that, and it trying to make our bigs shoot the ball. You know what I'm saying? A few of our bigs took some shots that, you know, usually they don't take, and I think the biggest thing, we got to make some shots when we have. We missed a lot of layups in the inside and stuff that kind of hurt us. We get an offensive rebound and know we ain't penalizing them for putting the ball back in. I think that's one of the biggest things. And just it's hard to keep on playing defense where you're not scoring and not shooting a good percentage.
Yeah, can I ask you about that? I mean, 19-6, the discrepancy in offensive rebounding, and so many times Fordham has dominated on the O-glass, but just the lack of conversion off the second chance. You'd think that typically that would be the kind of play where you're getting your most efficient looks, but it just hasn't been the case. How do you explain that?
It's hard to explain. I think our guys are aware of it. Like, they need to put the ball in, and it is kind of deflating that when you have an opportunity to put the ball in and score, then you don't put it in, you got to go play defense. And then they come down, they made a three, or they get a layup, and then it's kind of defeating in a way. But, it's both sides of the floor, but offensively we have to get better and figure out a way how to put the ball in the basket to help our defense to maintain against these good offensive teams that we play.
Yeah, and on a more positive note, Akira Jacobs, great tonight. One of the only guys really making threes for your guys' team, whether he's putting it on the floor or shooting the three. He looked really comfortable. And another guy who looked really comfortable out there, Abbas coming back, returning today, and he was efficient for you guys on the offensive end. Obviously, foul trouble kept him off the floor. But what does it mean to have him back for you guys now in the conference?
Well, it's great to have Abbas back, just to have more bodies. We pretty much were banged up.
Especially down low.
Down low, 100%, man. And of course, Jack and Rika's been playing a lot of minutes, so that will help them, get a little bit more breather. But Abbas been good for us inside in the paint, too. So he kind of was a spark for us, scoring down low and getting some, low post touches and putting the ball in. So hopefully that could him continue to get better, and just for us to get better, just having more bodies and be more fresh on the floor.
As a coach with championship pedigree, this is a Fordham team that's been in every game it's played except for that St. Louis game second half, but in 3 of those 4 close contests, or 4 of those 5, against Dayton, against George Mason, Richmond, and now today, when you have this 2 to 5 point deficit second half, just haven't been able to get over the hump. What kind of things do you say to your guys to help them regroup and be able to be more successful in crunch time against these conference opponents?
I think the biggest thing, our guys come in the next day or whatever practice is, and they come to work. We do heavy film session to show them what they can do, and they do a lot of individual film sessions. So they study it, and it's going to hit to this point around this time of the season when you feel like our team is getting better, and if we get more healthy as well too. But we just got to figure a way to, like how you said, get over that hump, and just got to keep on plugging, keep on working, and I think it's going to get there. Because once we get all our guys back, I feel like we'll be a tough out for sure, but we just got to get better, especially offensively. We got to put the ball in the basket.
Thank you for the time, Coach. Always appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Coach Derek Phelps, assistant coach for the Fordham Rams, national champion Tar Heel, and we appreciate him for joining us there. One of the guys that closed out Chris Webber in the infamous timeout play, one of the most infamous plays in the sports history. I call it the most infamous closeout in the sports history. We, of course, always thank coaches for meeting with us after the game. A depressing end to a pretty inspiring, at least a middle part for the Fordham Rams. It just didn't have a happy ending.
So many times this season, especially in conference play, it's been, can you do it for 40 minutes? And unfortunately, through 6 games, it's a large enough sample size to say that as of right now, you can't. Now, Roar Core's coming back soon. That's going to help. I mean, I can't even state how much that's going to help. He only scores 6 points a game. But to have that kind of spacing, a true dead-eye shooter in the corner who can also attack the closeout and who also can provide length defensively, Fordham just doesn't have that at the 3. If you put him and Jacobs on the floor at the same time, Fordham actually has a good shooting lineup. There's no other combination of 5 players that would yield what you'd call a good shooting lineup on the floor. I think it will open up things for this Fordham team, but for now, until he comes back, and again, the right ankle issue for Roar sustained the injury against Dayton. We don't know how long it's going to be. We think it's not going to be too much longer. Until he comes back, situation for Fordham, you're going to have these runs. Great second half of the first half, that middle stretch of the second half, but if you're playing 20% from the field type basketball for 30 out of 40 minutes, it doesn't matter how great your defense is. Eventually, an A-10 team's going to beat you. Duquesne scores 80-plus points a game, one of the best offenses in the country. Look, you held them to just 74. That's great. But if the offense is as poor as it's been, you have no hope. And as Phelps said, it's a morale thing, too. I mean, you do so much effort, you miss the initial make after taking 25 seconds on the shot clock, and then you miss the putback, and then you get another board, and you miss that, and then you have to go back and play defense. You have to do that for 40 minutes. It's not a sustainable recipe for success.
Even Christian Henry, it looked a few times when he went over to the bench when Kingston Price checked into the game, it almost looked like he was hurt or dealing with something. But to me, from where I was, obviously not being very close to him, I'm almost thinking that's a mental issue he was having. Not necessarily a physical one, but and we even saw it on the last 3 free throws of the game. There's just something mentally that isn't fully equipped here yet.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think for Chris, I think he struggles just to compartmentalize with turnovers.
Totally.
I mean, we see them snowball because he'll have games where he has only 1 turnover and he's got 8-9 assists, but then he'll have games like today where he has 6 turnovers, and he's still looking for guys. He still had 4 assists, but he's also looking for his own shot, and he's trying to solve the problems in one play. He's taking these bad looks from 3. He's trying to do too much, forcing passes. We saw that a lot today, and it's just not a recipe for success for Henry, and I think mental block is a big thing for him, but I would say that he's also a little banged up physically. He takes as many blows as anyone.
Takes a lot of punishment throughout the games. Are you a Ted Lasso guy?
No.
Ted Lasso would say to be like a goldfish.
I've heard that, though.
Goldfish have the shortest memory of any animal, and he always tells his players, be like a goldfish. That would help Christian Henry
especially
out.
a ball handler.
Yeah, absolutely. The Fordham Rams, after a program-defining win last week on the road at St. Bonaventure, they now drop 2 straight. Tonight, they lost to Duquesne 74-63, an 11-point loss for the Rams. And on Wednesday against St. Louis, they fell 78-56. They'll have another crack at it on Wednesday. That one is at 7. They'll be on the road facing off against Steph Curry's alma mater, Davidson. That one, as I said, is at 7. Till then, for now, for me, Chris Carino, my partner, Joe Henry, as always, such a pleasure. Had Isabella Tarancini doing our sidelines today. We appreciate her as well. Izzy Rendazzo was beat reporting for us here today as well. So a full crew for FUV at the gym, and we appreciate everyone helping us out. We're going to send it back to the Rose Hill Gym for a post-game report with studio host Derek Bullier and, of course, Max Perlman. Take it away, guys.
The one-on-one post-game report.
Welcome back into the Rose Hill studio for the Fordham men's basketball post-game report, where your Fordham Rams fell at home to the Duquesne Dukes 74-63. I am Derek Bullier, once again joined by Max Perlman. And with this loss, the Rams' record falls to 1-5 in conference play, digging them deep into a hole at the bottom of the A-10, while Duquesne gets a much-needed win on the road to make them 2-3 in conference play. And if you watched, I'm going to go back to what I said at I'm going to go back to what I said at halftime. If you watched the first 10 minutes of the game, you would have expected Fordham to be down by quite a bit. And then you saw at halftime, they ended up only down by 3. But then now we're at the end of the game, and Fordham ends up losing this game by 11. So the middle part of this game is kind of the only part where Fordham really played good basketball. Every other time, it kind of seemed like Fordham was just not really putting it all together, especially offensively. And obviously the biggest thing that goes out to you is the fact that they put up 28 three-point attempts and made 4 of those. So they shot 14% from 3, and I mean, any team doing that, you're not going to expect to win.
Yeah, no, there was a 20-minute stretch there where they had not sunk a three-pointer, and you're talking about Fordham. We've seen it time and time where they're very slow to start offensively, then they heat up in the middle, and they just can't close out the game. And yeah, Joe brought up the only game where they've truly been just blown out was against St. Louis, who has been like nationally recognized for how great of a season they're having. They've been competitive with George Mason and Richmond, like quality A10 teams. They've been extremely competitive. We're seeing a lot of like execution issues. I remember in the last two or so minutes we saw Fordham, they were playing like, obviously they were just fouling, but it was like a level of intensity that if that were maintained the whole game, you would surely see better results for 40 minutes rather than just, the middle 20 where they were able to keep it close.
It just seems like Fordham struggling basically on every part of the ball. I mean, again, the three-point percentage, not great. The field goal percentage overall was about 36%, which isn't horrible but isn't great. They put up 70 shot attempts because of their 19 offensive rebounds, but a lot of those offensive rebounds came in bunches where they just missed multiple shots in a row and they weren't able to put a shot in. They shot about 50% from the free throw line, only made 9 of their 15, while Duquesne had 18 of their 27, which Joe made a good point on the broadcast. Duquesne only shooting 66% from the free throw line, but they just had so many opportunities, and that's a big part where Fordham could have made a comeback where they were taking advantage of Duquesne not able to make their free throws, but Duquesne just had so many and Fordham not able to dig themselves out of a hole. The turnover battle ended up tied at 13. It just seemed like Fordham, they had momentum at the end of that first half, and they kind of just lost it all right when that second half started, and they kind of reverted back to the first 10 minutes of this game, just not able to shoot and just not able to really execute. It seems like Fordham is just a little lost on the court today.
I mean, we heard it in the interview with Coach Derek Phelps, where at the end, where it's very simple. They have to put the ball in the basket. I mean, 17 offensive rebounds is that's a comical amount. And I mean, yeah, if you take half of those, say, and then you could theoretically add 20 points. I mean, obviously that's a simplification, but it goes without saying. 17 offensive rebounds is crazy. I mean, it's very simple. They need to put the ball in the basket. We saw, again, some bright spots on offense with Abbas Bodija coming back from injury and having a nice stretch where he sunk a three and had a nice little the first portion of the second half, there was a kind of strong offensive stretch. But I mean, yeah, all of the points are basically consolidated in the starting five, and when that starting five is struggling, as we saw, to just put the ball in the basket, it's going to be really tough to battle with a very experienced Duquesne team. Yeah,
Christian Henry himself shooting 1 for 7 from 3. It just seemed like the shot the shot selection maybe wasn't great, but that also is on part to the Duquesne defense, making the guys that don't necessarily shoot a ton of threes, forcing them kind of to take those shots, or maybe giving them the look, but then Fordham just not able to sink those. It just seems like, again, it boils down to, and like Coach was saying, Fordham just not able to execute. It just and even when they had when they had stretches where they were able to execute the game plan effectively, and it looked like Fordham was making a good run, Duquesne would clap back with their run on their own, or Fordham and Duquesne would just go back and forth until one team eventually, and it mostly was Duquesne, would end up on top with a stop. It just seemed like every time Fordham had any chance of any ounce of momentum, Duquesne would just score right back, and Fordham would end up right back where they were.
Yeah, no, we'll see. Fordham has to look forward to a slew of A-10 games, of course. Yeah, they have Davidson on Wednesday, who hasn't been a super high scoring offense, but is one of the stronger teams in the Big Ten. Then they have LaSalle and GW, two teams towards the bottom, where it would be nice to gain some ground, and hopefully they can, find an offensive gear that they can maintain and not just find in spurts was so prevalent against Duquesne.
Well, with Fordham already down to 1-5, Max, what do you think their ceiling is in this A-10?
I mean, with a new head coach, I mean, obviously you kind of have to look at things relatively, but I mean, we saw them beat a Rhode Island team that, they beat St. Bonnie's, but I mean, yeah, you just want to see the coach, hopefully, or McPile, try and get his system in, and obviously, it's been a sort of turbulent start, but it's, I don't know, he's got to just find some stability, and I think we can't, as optimistic as you can be, you got to be realistic, and he brought it. There's I believe 9 new transfers. That's a lot. I mean, just getting guys used to the campus, and getting guys who have, just blending the past experience with new transfers that's going to be tough. And ideally, you see the yields of, the work now that I'm sure is being put in a few years. And I mean, you saw Fordham, Joe brought it up, how they had one of the easiest non-conference schedules in the country, and that's, that is nice for the record, but it's not necessarily going to be great for, prepping yourself for A-10 play. That's going to be very challenging. And ideally, you see Fordham start playing some more premier games and start to kind of just ramp up and become, a more consistent team in the A-10. Yeah,
with a new head coach and a lot of new players, you kind of just hope to see down the stretch just a lot of improvement overall in the system. But I think after this devastating loss, that'll do it for us here in the Rose Hill studio, and for all of us on this broadcast. Chris Carino and Joe Henry had the call of the game with Isabel Terracini on the sidelines. Owen Kelty has been producing and making us all sound amazing. Travis Hayden has been running the stream, and Max Perlman gave you the wonderful updates. And join me, Derek Boyer, for your halftime and postgame shows. Bobby Chaffardini is our sports director, and Fordham men's basketball is a production of WFUV Sports.